Hey, everybody. Welcome to, I don't know, we don't have a title for this. It's just movie stuff.
No. I actually like the title, Fat Boys Discuss Movies.
Fat Boys Discuss Movies. Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know who came up with it, but that's what the last one was titled, and I think we should go with that.
All right. Fat Boys at the movies. Oh, yeah.
Not really at the movies, because we don't really go to
Yeah,
like Fat Boys talk about movies. That's it.
Three fat fucking retards yammer on about movies like they know what the fuck they're talking about, eh? There we go. That's what the fuck this is.
Silence, TJ. Very clever, you muscle-bound moron. You're a muscle-bound moron, TJ.
I've got something that I've been wanting to say to you for a long time, TJ.
Uh-huh.
And I think I'm going to get it off my chest here.
Get it off your fucking chest.
Shit, dude.
Get it off your chest, Paul.
All right, Paul.
Let Neptune strike ye dead, TJ. Hark, Triton! Triton, hark! Bellow bid our father, the Sea King, rise from the depths, full foul in his fury, black waves teeming with salt foam, to smother this young mouth with pungent slime, to choke ye, engorging your organs till ye turn blue, bloated with bilge and brine, and can scream no more. Only when he, crowned in cockle shells, with slithering tentacled tail and steaming beard, take up his fell-befinned arm, his coral-tined trident, screeches banshee-like in the tempest, and plunges right through your gullet, bursting ye. A bulging bladder no more, but a blasted bloody film now. A nothing for the harpies and the souls of dead soldiers and sailors to peck and claw and feed upon, only to be lapped up and swallowed by the infinite waters of the dread emperor himself. Forgotten to any man, to any time, forgotten to any god or devil, forgotten even to the sea. For any stuff or part of TJ, even any scanting of your soul, is TJ no more, but is now itself the sea.
Yeah? Well, you're a poop head.
Seems fairly reasonable.
Yeah.
Man, I've never felt such a connection with a character at that moment. I saw myself saying that to TJ.
Yeah.
And I was like, this movie was made just for me.
This is my special movie.
Just for me. It was made just for Paul.
This movie was made for me.
Of course, talking about the film, the 2019 release, The Lighthouse.
So if that's you and Robert Pattinson is me, does that mean I get to murder you at some point?
I mean, it's up in the air what even happened in this movie.
Well,
so
sure. I guess that is the case. I guess that's true. But it does seem like at some point Pattinson's character murders
Don't you think that we should give like a blanket spoiler warning? Like if you have not seen this film,
I mean, no, because it's so unclear what happened that there's really no spoilers anyway, right?
Right. No, there are spoilers.
There's definitely spoilers. You know what? If anyone's watching us, they know there's spoilers. Everything's spoiled.
I mean, like, yeah, if you haven't seen it, go watch it now and then come back.
Fucking Kevin Spacey is Kaiser Soze, bitch. What you gonna do?
Like drinking milk. You look in the milk and you're like, this is kind of chunky. This is spoiled.
Yeah.
Snape kills Dumbledore.
Soylent Green is people. Yeah, I mean,
Soylent Green is Dumbledore. Wait, what?
So the first thing, I guess there's no spoilers. The first thing I wanted to bring up with you guys about this, and I don't really fault Scotty for this because I just think Scotty would like David Lynch if he gave him a chance.
I think
especially
Scotty's
now.
a goddamn loser.
Well, like, I think if Scotty watched some David Lynch movies, he would probably be entertained by them. Yeah. But you have this abiding hatred of David Lynch.
Yeah,
this movie.
That's true.
David
I do.
Lynchian, not necessarily in cinematography, but it's like totally David Lynchian in tone. Totally David Lynchian in the use of constant nightmare and dream logic.
Mm-hmm.
totally David Lynchian in the terms of it puts two disparate characters together and forces them to work together.
Okay.
I mean, like all of the kind of things that he's
When,
known for.
wait, when has David Lynch done that?
Mulholland Drive.
Okay, so that's the one.
Because
I've seen a few David Lynch movies. I've never seen that trope in them, in the ones I've seen.
Okay, so what about Dune?
Dune?
Right. In Dune, he opposes fucking Paul Atreides to the Emperor.
Okay, I mean, I guess.
And it's a constant. What are you talking about? So you're telling me it's not a trope in David Lynch films?
I guess I never picked it.
Forced to work together.
I mean, all right, sure, fine. I guess maybe it is. You know better than me.
So TJ, what David Lynch films have you seen?
All right, so I watched Dune. Sucked. I don't know if I don't think I've seen The Elephant Man, so I don't. Yeah.
I've heard positive things about The Elephant Man, actually.
So I tried to watch Wild at Heart.
Okay.
I got about 10 minutes into that before I decided it was completely retarded and not worth my time.
Not one of my favorite David Lynch movies.
I tried to watch Lost Highway. I thought that sucked major dick.
How long did you stick with it?
About 25 minutes before I just got too bored to continue.
That kind of sucks.
And then that's it.
Okay.
So I gave him 3 shots. I gave him 3 chances. 3 strikes you out.
You've never seen Inland Empire.
Nope.
You've never seen Mulholland Drive.
Garbage. Don't want it. Get away from me.
Yeah, do you like slow burn films?
What's that?
Do you enjoy slow burn kind of films?
It's it's very fucking contingent upon other factors.
So usually not.
Would you consider fucking Lighthouse slow burn? Because I did like the Lighthouse.
In ways, yes, I would say it is. I don't think it's not a movie filled with expository dialogue where every little thing's explained. Like,
yeah, I like that about it.
Here's my backstory.
Well, it's not only is it not explained, it's really left up to the viewer to interpret what even happened.
Right. I gave it 4 stars on my Letterboxd review that I wrote at the time.
Sure.
So I didn't give it a perfect 5 or nothing, but
which is another Lynchian thing, by the way. Leaving your movie completely open-ended and forcing the audience to decide what it is that they just watched.
won't deny that that's a Lynch thing. That's like the cornerstone of what he does.
Well, like here's the thing. It's the dream logic that sews all of Lynch's work together, and dream logic is all throughout this movie. You never know when someone is awake. The first time crazy shit is seen in this movie, it's implied that the guy was asleep. But the next time it's seen, he's not. But is he?
Yeah. I mean, the line is blurred. Sure. I got you.
I mean, the line is not just blurred. It's completely fucking obliterated. They never mention what island they're on. They never once in this film mention what part of the world they're in.
No.
The place they exist seems to exist just for the two of them to drive each other fucking insane. It's like a dream.
I mean, there's so many interpretations of this, and I kind of like delve deeper into that. Like, one of the theories that I thought was interesting was that, in fact, that the younger character ends up becoming the older character. So it's
in a way, yeah, he takes over his space. I mean, for me, it was all about Greek mythology in this movie. So,
sure. I mean, the ending is evocative. Actually, I'll share with you guys some of the. I actually pulled some of the artwork stuff, but let me go pull that up real quick.
Do it, stupid ass.
Yeah, I mean,
I said, do it, you fucking stupid fuck.
As soon as the movie
come over there,
ended,
kick your fucking ass,
knock your ass out, TJ.
As soon as the movie ended, me and my girlfriend who were watching it at the time both said at the same time, like, "Oh, Prometheus."
Yeah.
And it was like, okay,
the flame.
Okay,
yeah.
the keeper of the flame, and blah blah blah.
There was all the there's the stuff about him,
from the gods,
the pecking of the birds and stuff too. So
he was punished by being strapped to a rock in the Caucasus Mountains, and a giant eagle would come every day and eat his liver.
Yeah,
and then every day it would grow back.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the film, Robert Pattinson's character is way too fucked up to actually still be alive, but he clearly is, and he's being fed on by seabirds.
Yes. which goes to the Prometheus thing as well.
If he was Prometheus, then I think that fucking Defoe's character either represents Poseidon himself or like Proteus, the old man of the sea.
A lot of people identified it more with Proteus.
Okay.
That's
I didn't go looking. Like I just kind of like I looked into some of the theories I had at the end of the movie, and I pulled a couple of things about Poseidon and Triton and Proteus because all these are invoked in the film.
Oh, heavily.
So yeah.
I tried to avoid going too deep into other people's interpretations just because.
Well, I don't go there unless I feel like I have to. Like, you guys remember that movie Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to immediately go and find out what the fuck happened in that movie because I didn't care to figure it out for myself.
Yeah, I gotcha.
You know what's interesting is that people who have worked in like the CIA and spy organizations, that's actually the most accurate spy movie that's ever been made.
So what I gather from that is being a spy is completely fucking dull and plotting and horrible, and no one should do it.
It kind of in a way is, yeah.
Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy.
But yeah, this movie didn't give me that vibe.
Yeah, when I went and saw Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, just to close off the digression, I guess, some dude in the theater fell asleep and was like snoring loudly throughout the last like 30 minutes of the movie.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, neither do I.
I mean, the movie itself was like not shot boringly, and the character performances were not boring, but the unwillingness of the story to ever cohesively make sense at any point is what made the movie boring.
Yes.
It was just like, I can't connect with this because I don't know who's what and what's who, and I don't care anymore at this point. Like about 45 minutes into the movie, I no longer even really cared to try to figure out what was happening. And so I just stopped and I watched the rest of the movie.
I give up. You win, movie. You win.
I assumed it would all come to some kind of fruition at some point, and it doesn't. And then
things just continue to happen until finally the credits roll.
This is definitely a movie where if you want everything tied up in a nice, neat little bow, you're going to fucking hate it if you're that type of person.
Yeah.
Like, this is a movie that
I actually said almost the exact same thing in my review. I said, this movie isn't for people who like things all wrapped up in a nice little package with a pretty pink bow on top.
Well, I mean, I would echo the sentiment then, I suppose. It's not a movie that explains itself to you. It's a movie that you have to actively like watch and listen to, and you have to be willing to play along with it, and you have to be willing to fill in the gaps yourself. And if you don't like doing that in a movie, then you're really going to hate this movie. But like, it's my favorite kind of movie. I love a movie that considers me intelligent enough to play along with it. You know what I mean?
Except for Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy.
Well, see, that's the problem. Is like either I was too stupid or the movie was too fart sniffing and pretentious and tried too hard.
Maybe a little of both. I don't know.
That was definitely.
I didn't get it either. So
inspired by some works of art here. I want to show you guys that.
Sexy.
Yeah, I remember that part from the film. And see, this is what led me to believe that Defoe's character may indeed not have just been Proteus, but may have been, either King Triton or there goes Scotty.
Goodbye.
Bye, Scotty.
Bye, Scotty. See you later, bro.
Okay, he's back.
Is he?
Yeah, he's fine.
Hello.
He had an intermittent connection issue. But yeah, no, this scene in the film where, fucking Defoe's character grabs hold of Robert Pattinson's character and gives him this kind of stare filled with light that seems to hurt and blast his head back. To me, I don't know, is one of the reasons why I thought, okay, well, this guy is really he's the god of the sea in whichever form, Triton was always pictured as having like a slithering tentacle tail thing. And that is invoked several times in the film. Poseidon was worshipped as a sex god, like as an aphrodisiac god. And there's all kinds of masturbatory implications in this film.
Oh,
It comes.
we haven't even talked about the mermaid scenes yet. Yeah, I really enjoyed this scene, especially like you see him and like he's grabbing onto him, and you see the light, and you see this kind of like, and you know, I think especially in like kind of like the interpretation I had of it was more just like this is like him seeing something or the knowledge of gaining some sort of knowledge or something about being in this kind of setting he's in. But I think it was I thought it was interesting to pull the painting so you kind of can see the inspiration behind some of those the cinematography of the film, and of course this one, I'm sure you guys will appreciate it as well.
Sure.
Towards
I mean, there's a number of, like, I've got a work of art here called Prometheus. What is it called? Prometheus Bound, where it's, you know, him being chewed apart by the eagle on the mountain. So this was actually like really popular at one point in Greek art to represent. So there's a lot of ancient pictures of Prometheus being eaten on the mountain too. But yeah, this one definitely more evocative of like seabirds than an eagle. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. Zeus is associated in some Greek mythologies with seabirds, and of course storms and lightning. So it's also, in my mind, a possibility that he's also known to be vengeful and jealous and easy to anger, and sometimes friendly and sometimes wrathful. So I also thought that maybe Defoe's character might be Zeus, and that might be the source of this whole "you're a liar about your time at sea. You never spent any time at sea." Maybe that's an implication that he's not who he says he is. He's not this god of the ocean. He is Zeus, the keeper of the fire, right?
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard. I've heard a lot of people compare it to like the Prometheus and the Greek legends and stuff. I know that there's a lot of people have like drawn like Jungian archetypes and shit into it.
Sure.
I'm surprised no one's brought Lucifer into this. I mean, Lucifer is the light bringer, right? That's like the literal translation of fucking Lucifer. Scotty was talking about how like, he felt like, he was being given some kind of like knowledge or something too. And I mean, clearly there's like a protection of this light that exists in this lighthouse.
Well, Lucifer was like, okay, so Lucifer, the light bringer, he's called that kind of as a pejorative. Like he's the one that brought negativity into the world. He's the one that brought knowledge and of good and evil into the world.
Right. Which, you could say was, you can look at that as, I guess, as the downfall of man, or you can look at that as like the ascension of man.
The enlightenment of man.
I guess it depends on how you want to, like, you can obviously.
But it's it's essentially a retelling of the Promethean myth.
Yeah.
True. Like,
there's no. I mean, like that. That's so. I mean, they really fucking hammer you with that. So you can't deny that.
That story though in the Bible is a retelling of the Promethean myth.
Right, because it's the God who's giving man knowledge.
Rebels against the Almighty God and gives man fire, representing knowledge and industry and all of this stuff.
Right. Sure.
Against the god's wishes, and the people take it against the god's wishes. He's also associated with Pandora.
Yeah.
So it's because of Prometheus that Pandora opens Pandora's box and releases things into the world like care and worry and poverty and sickness and disease and blah, 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 which is, it's the same story in the Bible. It's what the serpent did in the garden, and the serpent is Lucifer. So the question is, did Prometheus do a good thing by opening Pandora's box? Did he liberate man by giving him the full breadth of experience? Or did he doom man by subject? And it's all about your perspective, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So that however you wish to fucking see it, whether you see it from the Luciferian angle, like kind of TJ does, or you see it from the Greek mythological angle, like I did, and Scotty seemed to.
Well, think about this too.
It's the same story.
You're talking about in your sort of interpretation of the film. Remember the very pivotal point in the film. So these two guys, they're going to be on an island for 4 weeks. They're going to fix up the lighthouse, maintain it, whatever. But the turning point in the film, and he's warned because he's messing with the seagulls because the seagulls are bothering him. He's like, "No, oh, it's bad luck." Remember that they have the scene where he even slaps him.
Right.
Like they carry the souls of sailors. Don't you ever touch them or hurt them. And then what you really start to see the character, the Robert Pattinson character shift is when he kills that seagull. There's one in like the cistern or whatever, and and then the one starts bothering him. And he smashed it to pieces, and then the storm comes, and everything just starts changing in the film. It's like the first act is over with, and then the shit starts getting weirder and weirder after he commits that act. And even the movie even says it like after you killed that bird, like this all this shit started happening.
Right. I was spoiled on some aspects of this film, and I remember a lot of people saying that Defoe's character was keeping something like keeping a tentacled monster in the lighthouse. When I watched this movie, I didn't take it that way. I took that he was changing into that in the lighthouse, like that somehow the power of that light was revealed his true form.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to the lighthouse yet. I mean, the top of the lighthouse is kind of like the mystery of the film. It's like, I tend the light. They're always like, they're kind of arguing like, no, the light is only for me.
I did read something.
There's a ton of masturbation scenes in the film.
Yeah.
The interesting one that kind of relates to what we're talking about now is Pattinson's character follows the sound of moaning, which sounds like sexual moaning, up to the top of the lighthouse. And he can see through the grating in the floor, but he can't really see much. And the moaning continues. And then all of a sudden we get this shot of Pattinson backing away and this, cum-like substance dripping down through the grating in the floor. And we assume, oh, fuck, he's up there jerking off. And then the next time Pattinson looks up, we see a tentacle slither by covered in slime that drops even more, quote unquote, cum.
Yeah.
So it wasn't cum. It was him moaning as he turned into this creature up there, which would make him Proteus. Proteus was but so was Zeus. Zeus was known for taking different forms, just not associated with a lot of oceanic forms.
Sure.
Whereas Proteus was capable of changing form.
He's kind of like the keeper of the sea. You know what I mean? He has all the knowledge of every animal in the sea and everything.
He appeared as a dolphin and as a whale and as a octopus and yada yada yada. So
the god that tended the sea, kind of thing.
And I don't necessarily think that the filmmaker had in mind any one story. I think he took a blend of these myths, and threw them all into this.
So this was Robert Eggers, I believe, the same guy who did The Witch, which I also liked.
Great movie.
He was asked in an interview. Because I did a little bit of digging around just before we decided to do this, and I actually thought this was a pretty cool answer. Someone asked him last night at the screening. Someone asked me, "Why didn't you photograph what Robert Pattinson sees at the end of the movie?" And Eggers said, "Because if you saw it, that same fate would befall you." So apparently, like something, I think the implication there is that like whatever Robert Pattinson saw, it was like the mere knowledge of it that sealed his fate.
I mean,
so I think there's like a strong current here of like forbidden knowledge, of like the hubris of man, of human beings, seeking that which maybe they shouldn't know.
Ascending so high and ultimately just falling all the way back down.
Right. I mean, you could kind of view the lighthouse as like a Tower of Babel kind of thing, I guess.
There's definitely a lot of like contradictory stuff in this film. Like for one thing, the conceit is these two men are staying for a month to tend the lighthouse.
Right.
But not long after being at the lighthouse, once the ice is broken between them, Willem Dafoe's character tells the other character that he's always been the keeper of the lighthouse and that he's had a number of assistants that have failed.
Right.
And that he's the only one that has the key to it. So once again, it may not even be that Pattinson was killed by what he saw.
Yeah.
It may be that he was killed for what he released.
Yeah.
He opened not only the light itself and released what was within it, which we never see Dafoe's character do at any point in the movie.
No.
but he also opened the door to the light and left it open. He didn't close it behind himself.
Right. So you can kind of take that back to the Pandora's box thing.
So he was able to fall out, and it was like he was pushed out, right? So the Pandora's box thing, and also Zeus punishing Prometheus for releasing that flame of knowledge that he kept so greedily to himself.
I mentioned that scene was that William Dafoe's character in the movie obviously has a fake leg. And at the end of that scene, you can pretty clearly hear like a crack. That's why kind of like I think people have that theory of like them being the same in that respect, because of the fact that when he falls down, he fucks up his leg. So it's almost like he's caught in these circumstances of like, and also the fact that like both the characters they're presented like, oh, I'm this person,
And
and
you find out they're both named Thomas actually and stuff.
Yeah, it's clear that their identities are meaningless. Like,
well, it's questionable, I think, throughout the film who's gaslighting who. And that's another big theme here, because at some point we as the audience see just basically a half day go by, and then it's implied by Willem Dafoe that they've been there for an indeterminate amount of time. He never really lands on an actual time that they've been there. But they missed the fucking boat long ago, and they've been there for who knows how long now.
One of the things we haven't really gotten to in the movie is that alcohol plays a big. I mean, like there's some serious drinking going on in this movie. Alcoholism is definitely a theme in this film. Like they get fucking plastered. And that's kind of the only time they actually really can come together and have any sort of like a.
Yeah, that seems like the only time when there's like real camaraderie between the two of them is when alcohol is involved.
Well, it's not just camaraderie, though. You guys remember
there is
several times they get
there's a strong
they get combative with each other.
Yeah,
but that's it's
they also get pretty homoerotic with each other on a few occasions.
Yeah, they almost kissed. Yeah, there's definitely some homoeroticism.
Sure.
And in fact, the homoeroticism angle, I guess, was one of the most important things to the film's creators. They said actually in the original screenplay, the Lighthouse was described as resembling a penis. It's very important. The homoeroticism of the characters, I guess, was a pretty important element in the film. You see almost like the violence and the attraction is kind of linked to one another, because as soon as they have that moment where they almost kiss, it's like immediately, like when they snap out of it, they like immediately it's violence, So it's like,
sure,
there's this sexual like sort of attraction, but there's also this repulsion,
which is
they want to fucking harm each other. They want to fucking love each other. It's like there's like so many fucking broiling emotions going on.
It's one of the only things in the movie that's tied to the real world once things get, really weird, because that happens later in the film. And you're right. It's not like there's no scene that I can think of where, Zeus and Prometheus made out or whatever. There was any homoerotic intention. So it was clearly inserted as a callback to the real world and the real kind of not only like acceptance of homosexuality, but the tendency of people who are locked away for a long time to develop those bonds and take advantage of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sailors were famous for doing that.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, that's like, that goes down to see, I mean, like, even that's part, I mean, like, there's a part of that speech that you were giving where he's insulting him that sounds pretty homoerotic about, like, slime being, shot down
forced
his throat,
his mouth.
I mean, like, there's stuff, I mean, like, and it's, once again, it's tied to violence, so there's almost like a violent homoeroticism in the movie.
There's an Oedipus thing, too, going on because of the fact that Pattinson's character, Ephraim or Howard or whatever, is always kind of seeking approval. Like, it's like, there's almost like kind of like this fatherly kind of like the dad that doesn't really, he's disappointed with his son, doesn't really want to help him out, just like, do your job.
Right.
And he dresses him down constantly. He doesn't even start calling him by his name. It's like, it's been 2 weeks,
right.
It's like, don't call me lad. It's like, all right, I'll call you by your actual name. So it's always like kind of like this, like seeking approval, but then it kind of shifts away from that to almost like kind of like, you don't like my cooking, it's almost like a married couple at that point. So it's like,
very much. Yeah.
Shifts away from maybe like this father and son thing to like, almost like like the covetousness of his son, like wanting that knowledge and almost like having this such a strong desire, like, like they almost end up kissing, and you kind of just feel like that power of that scene of like, okay, wow, it's like this is kind of come to this point. So it's like the characters, like I agree with you. It's a blending of all of these things. It's a blending of Greek mythology.
I mean, and there's the ongoing fantasy question mark with the mermaid that's clearly tied. And this is something that I didn't realize at first. It was my girlfriend that put me onto it. As soon as Robert Pattinson's character finds that little carved mermaid statue in his bed,
yeah,
she said he's going to jerk off to that. She was like, that's probably what, because think about it, they don't have porn, you know what I mean? So that's probably why that's why it's hidden in the bed. And I was like, at the time I was like, no, nobody's going to be jerking off to it. But he literally does it in the film. He literally holds the carving in the film and then has numerous quote unquote fantasies about fucking a mermaid. We get a really cool shot of a mermaid pussy, which
is huge.
All the haters should fucking shut up. That dog people that are attracted to mermaids, because now we've seen a mermaid pussy and it looks fuckable. Let's put it that way.
Let's put it this way, to borrow from Patton Oswalt, it's like dropping a pencil in a mine shaft.
Yeah, but I mean, you could do it. You know what I mean? It could be done.
But that mermaid ain't gonna feel shit. She's gonna be like, "What you got?"
It ain't about her pleasure.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
The mermaid just gets pleasure from giving pleasure. That's what I heard through the grapevine.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's in my opinion, it's a great film, and it's one of those films. And one of the makes things that distinguishes it, and it kind of puts it in the category of things like The Shining and other films that are very ambiguous, is that like you just don't have, you're not fucking spoon fed. It's not a spoon fed fucking film. And I'm like, and I'm not saying spoon fed films are all, oh, that's just automatically bad. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying like this film is open to so many interpretations. It leaves you wondering. You have more questions than answers, and that's really good. I think that really makes a film live on past when it's actually relevant. It's just been released. I think this is a film that's going to stand the test of time, and people are going to come back to this film over and over again.
One of my favorite things about movies is the psychological kind of background of them. And there are movies like this one that are clearly an invitation for you to project your own thoughts onto them and to make your own mind up. But there are also spoon-fed, quote unquote, movies that have that shit hidden all throughout them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's my favorite. That's my favorite shit about movies, is movies that in one way or another invite or allow me to make wild speculations about, whether or not it's real and what the psychological implications are and what the psychological archetypes being pitted against one another are.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a guy the other night, or actually just last night. There's a YouTube channel called Renegade Cut. You guys ever watching that shit?
No.
But anyway, he did like an essay on police brutality in America, but he did it as it pertains to like black sitcoms of the 90s and shit. So I mean, like, you can use even something as like silly and like supposedly disposable as a sitcom to kind of use as a lens to examine aspects of society. So I mean, I think you can always find something in even maybe not like Beverly Hills Chihuahua or something, but you could find fucking parallels and things to contemplate even in like Martin was part of the essay. I didn't even know that Martin had a sitcom until Paul mentioned it like a couple weeks back. So
I loved how this film was shot too.
Oh yeah, I mean the cinematography and like the cameras. I mean like the crisp black and white and shit. I mean, it's fucking awesome.
A 1940s style movie, but in 2019.
Right. I read up about it, and they spent a bunch of money to use a really old way of filming and update it with modern lenses and shit to give it a look of a movie that was shot a long time ago. It was also shot in 4:3, basically. It's like non-letterbox, which bothered me at first. I thought eventually it was going to do that thing that movies do where they start in non-letterbox and then they widen out,
Yeah.
Never happened in this movie, but I kind of got why not too long into it, because this is another great thing about this movie: every frame a painting.
There's certain movies too that when I watch them, and I'm not even saying that they're all good, but there's certain movies that I watch and I have trouble thinking about them even being made. You know what I mean? Like, it almost feels like there's something magical about this in a way that it doesn't feel like there was like a director sitting in a director's chair and a camera and all this stuff.
Right.
Like, that stuff was there, but like, it almost feels like this movie just like came into being somehow.
And that's
this
great.
This is a movie that I think goes for that and captures it pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that feeling is great. I actually read some of the X-ray shit after the movie, and apparently the director, what's his name again?
I think it's Robert Eggers.
Eggers.
Yes, Robert Eggers
is like the opposite of that. He is he was an ultimate stickler on both of the different dialects that are used in the film.
Yes.
Robert Pattinson uses kind of a typical kind of New Englander sailor kind of thing, and then fucking Willem Dafoe's character uses like an old sailor dialect.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he would give them directions. I remember reading it, and they said he would give them directions like, do that again, but do the second line 75% slower.
Yeah, so very precise.
So even though the movie does have a feeling of a movie that just fucking happened.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know no movie actually. I mean, like, yeah, but
but this
but
one in particular is the exact opposite.
The illusion
Everything.
that he has, though.
You guys ever seen character Sawa's Dersu Uzala?
No.
Well, I'm not saying it's super relevant, just the way it's shot is it kind of reminded me a lot of how this movie was done. Obviously, that was made in the 70s, but the kind of the aspect ratio and how it's like, it's kind of just forces you just to look at the center of the film.
And Robert Eggers, by the way, is now working on some kind of like Viking revenge movie, so that should be cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
I dig the shit out of The Witch. I mean, like, this guy's movies are definitely slow burn, and I really enjoy his fucking sensibilities. I don't know what it is, because usually, I mean, there's a lot of times when a movie tries to do the slow burn thing with me, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. But I don't know, something about this dude's eye or the way he approaches the subject matter, it kind of like casts that spell.
Yeah. I mean, the shooting of it and the presentation of it in black and white was, as we mentioned, an homage to movies from the 40s and shit. And I've recently gone on a tear watching old Bela Lugosi movies. And this shot that I'm using right now of Willem Dafoe is very typical of that, like the heavy shadow shit. I remember reading that they use something on the camera that takes reds and makes them dark blacks. And the effect that it has is that you can see every line and pore and imperfection on a person's face.
That's cool.
And it was shot that way purposefully to give the look of that kind of like genuine, unrefined, kind of fucked up nature that two people that are living on a fucking remote lighthouse together forever would have,
I think everyone loves, colored, all the variety of colors you can put into film. But I think the fact that the impact of black and white and the way you can frame the shots, like the shots wouldn't necessarily be as interesting if it was in color. I think this movie definitely benefits. Like I can remember some of these shots, like he's shoveling something, like the coal or something, and you have them like they use doorways so well in this movie to show the juxtaposition. Like they'll be in a dark room and then someone will be outside looking in. There's just so many great shots like they have in this movie, and like the cinematography is just impeccable. I love the way they shot it. At first I was kind of like, oh, why is it like this? Because I know nothing about it. By the end of it, I was just in love with the concept. I mean, just the artistic vision behind it. It's so rare to have a movie like this come out. It's definitely one of in my opinion, the best of the 2010s.
Oh yeah, when I first watched this movie, it was right towards the beginning of being quarantined. It was like 2 or 3 weeks into quarantine, and me and my wife were in a very similar kind of situation as Thomas and Ephraim or whatever.
Of isolation,
right? Where we're like feeling very isolated and stuff, and like after watching this movie, like it colored our interactions for like the next couple of days. Like it felt like we were kind of in this movie. Like it was that like powerful and like it got you. It so fucking got you into its world that you couldn't help but having it reframe your perception of like what's going on around you afterwards in the aftermath, especially when you're in a situation that's kind of similar.
There's two other movies I think that are recent that I would put in that kind of category. Mother,
Yeah, that was a good one.
had a similar effect on me, and Parasite, which I don't know if either of you
I haven't
have
seen
yet.
Parasite yet, but I should.
You know, I started watching that, but I fell asleep. But the first like 30 minutes of it, I thought was really well done. I really liked the dynamic of the family and everything. But I have to finish that one up.
Yeah, you both gotta watch Parasite. I thought it was great. But yeah, very similar, at least with that. The ability to kind of take it into your life and have it affect you. So a rare kind of movie for that. I've got something for you guys if you want to take a look at it.
Sure.
Sure.
You guys remember this little bastard
Yeah, I
From your-
remember this.
from your days in the video store?
Uh-huh.
You remember walking by this little bastard and thinking one of these days I'm gonna rent that movie?
I believe the one that was in my video store had a slightly different cover than this, but I remember the Demons too.
This is Demons 2. Let me see if I can find Demons 1.
I remember Demons 1's cover. The VHS cover. It had the tagline on it. It was like Angela's throwing a party, Freddy and Jason are too scared to come.
No, that's different.
No.
That's Night of the Demons.
Oh, you're right. You're actually right. Yeah.
Fuck Night of the Demons. Hate it.
I don't
you
like
guys
Night of the
both
Demons
suck.
either.
You guys both suck. You're wrong about it.
No,
but,
I've seen Demons 2 actually. I know I do get those two series mixed up, but
I have not seen Demons 2.
Demons 2, was that the one that in the theater, or is that Demons 1 I'm thinking of?
You may be thinking of a different franchise, because let me tell you about Demons 2.
Okay.
I actually started watching this.
I've seen a lot of Demons movies, so I guess
Yeah.
I guess they're all blending together.
This movie is a movie about people that live in a high-rise apartment building. Some of them are having a party, but most of the people are in their apartments late at night watching Demons 1 on the TV.
Yeah.
And about 60% of Demons 2 is just Demons 1.
Same trick they pulled with Silent Night, Deadly Night too.
Yeah. So Demons 1 plays for about 60% of the movie, and then you get these weird like pullback scenes where the aspect ratio changes to a TV, and then you get the shot of some character sitting there watching it in rapt attention. And then you cut to this weird party scene that looks like it was shot in literally 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And just done and wrapped, and they cut it up and made because they're little blurbs of like, Johnny wants to come to the party. No, I hate Johnny. Everybody get out. Go down there and stop Johnny from coming up. And then it's back to Demons 1
Yeah.
for like another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It sounds awful.
Yeah. I've seen
So,
yeah.
And I have by the way, I have seen it. I saw it as a kid.
Yeah,
I
did
barely
too.
remember it, but when you described it, I do remember seeing it and being pissed.
yeah. I remember renting this as a really little kid, and then never renting it again when my friends, because the box is badass.
Yeah, that box is cool.
But my friends would be like, "Oh man, this box looks cool," and I remember going like, "No, dude, this movie sucks."
Don't fall for it.
And I just recently rediscovered it, and that's that. Yeah.
Does it suck? Or it still sucks, right? Because it's
Yeah,
still.
oh my god, it's
Yeah.
horrible.
Dude, when I was reading about the I wasn't reading about it. Joe Bob was talking about it, but I was watching Silent Night, Deadly Night 2, which was like one of the biggest fucking disappointments of my childhood, because I actually really dug the original Silent Night, Deadly Night, because I thought
Me too.
that the concept
Today.
that's the second one. I thought the concept of a killer Santa Claus was just fucking dope. I thought it was super cool.
Me too.
And then
Also,
I'm like,
Weird Al song.
I'm like, sweet, I want to fucking watch the second one. And then I discovered that it's like 80% of the movie is just like the first one, like scenes from the first one. And I found out that actually they were trying to not even have new shit. Like literally, like the guy who produced the movie just went to like some editor and was like, "Yo, can you like move stuff around with the footage of the first movie to create a sequel?" Like he literally came to him and was like, "Here's the first movie. Can you make like a different movie with this same footage?" And the guy's like, I can try." And then he tried and he was like, "No, I can't. I have to shoot at least some new stuff." He's like, "All right, you can have 3 days to shoot some different stuff." And then that was basically how the movie, or like 7 days or whatever the fuck. But yeah, it's horrible.
This movie was that Demons 2 was definitely born under the same like auspices. You can tell, like there was like, because nothing ever really happens in it. Like none of the people, like eventually like a demon runs around at the party, but none of the people watching it, they're just there to excuse the fact that 60% of the movie, and by the way, Demons 1 sucks too.
Yeah, it's not that great.
It's not as bad though. Demons 1 actually has,
well, it's at least like, a movie. You know, it's not just like, you know, it's its own movie at least.
It's about a bunch of kids that like believe in demons that go to this bombed out construction site where a bunch of people have been killed to search for demons, and they find them.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What fucking movie am I thinking of where there's a bunch of fucking people at a movie theater and then people start turning into demons and then they're like got to fight their way through the demons at the movie theater?
Yeah. I think you're talking about,
what the fuck is that? Because that's not Night of the Demons, and it's not demons.
It's an Italian movie, isn't it?
But there's demon. It's something about fucking demons in that one too.
Okay, you gotta remember something else about the movie.
Okay,
You have anything else?
I think I might know what movie you're talking about. Let me look up some films real quick.
Fuck. All right, hold on. Demons.
Like, just rack your brain. Think about that scene, because like it sounds so vaguely familiar to me.
Hold up. Yeah.
There's like a Tales from the Crypt episode where shit goes crazy in a theater.
What kind of era is it? 70s?
It feels
okay, you
like
know what? It is the first.
movie.
Okay, it is the first. It's the first Demons. That's what the first Demons is about. Yeah. I'm looking it up. I looked it up. It's the plot of that. So that was Demons.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
They're in a movie theater, or so they get invited to see some mysterious movie, and then demons show up. Right. So that's the first Demon. So then the second Demons is where they show scenes from that movie while nothing really happens. So,
while there's a party that eventually a demon pops out.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
And then the movie ends.
And then it's over.
Yeah. So you briefly touched on something, and I don't want to like reel back in, but I wanted to ask you. So what's your favorite Killer Santa?
My favorite Killer Santa movie? Or just favorite Killer Santa?
Your favorite Killer Santa.
Okay. Let me think here. So
from whatever movie. Just your favorite version of the character.
Okay, so of course there's the dude from the original Silent Night, Deadly Night, who's not actually Santa, but he's a dude who saw a robber dressed as Santa kill his parents and rape his mother when he was a kid. And it fucked him up. And it was right after his grandpa had told him, like, Santa Claus is evil or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Because his grandpa's nuts. Santa's evil. And then on the way back, a fucking mugger dressed as Santa kills his dad, rapes his mom, and kills his mom. He's put in an orphanage. He's abused by mother superior and shit. He grows up. Yeah. Eventually, they make him dress in a Santa outfit. It causes his brain to snap when he sees a girl having sex in the back room because he sees her tits. He remembers his mom's tits just before she was killed during the rape, and he goes crazy and he's like, naughty, and he starts killing people. And
from American Horror Story,
there was
that was a good one too.
Yeah, I like him as a Killer Santa.
There was that Killer Santa. There was a Killer Santa in
Futurama, dude.
Futurama had a great Killer Santa. It was a robot Santa that was like programmed to
Christmas. Everyone's freaking out. You're like, why is everyone freaking out about Christmas?
It was John Goodman in the original episode. I think they cast someone else later on. And then there was I think Goldberg, the wrestler, fucking played some kind of psychotic evil Santa at one point. I didn't really see that, but whatever.
Out Santa.
You know what? You guys have listed off some great Killer Santas, but as I figured, you snubbed my personal.
Well, I'm struggling to think of them. Maybe there's another one out there.
If you come up with it, I'll let you know. If you mention him, who was it?
The Tim Allen Santa.
Oh God, no.
Oh, come on, Paul. He is a killer Santa because remember he does.
Yeah.
Kill.
He
does-
kills Santa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That does qualify. I thought you were
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
trick us. Like,
Right.
I mean,
No, it's not the Tim Allen Santa.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
Good
I-
Hold on,
guess,
hold on,
though.
hold
Good
on.
guess.
Yeah, give us a minute, man. Don't just be like, hey.
So there's kind of a, I guess, no, that's not right. Never mind. I'm mixing up two movies there. I give up. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm up to tap out, man. I don't know. Fucking.
You ready to tap out too, there, Scotty?
I mean, if TJ's fucking bowing
Is this
out,
one of what I'm? Is it? This is probably gonna be one where I.
What? I don't even know what this is.
I'm not familiar with this. What is this?
This is actually the first syndicated episode of HBO's Tales from the Crypt. It's an episode called Naughty or Nice. And it's a very simple premise. It's like some bitchy alcoholic wife that hates her husband that's cheating on him, and the husband is a piece of shit too. He leaves her alone on Christmas with the kid. And then there's this radio broadcast of like an escaped psychopath who killed a mall Santa. And he's on the loose with an axe, and he shows up at the house and chases her around the fucking house and kills her. But the portrayal of this is that I don't know the guy's name, but he's also the guy that played Dr. Giggles, if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
He was a kind of a horror staple in the early and mid 90s. He was in a lot of these movies, and his portrayal of evil Santa here is my favorite personally.
Why?
Like he's such an upside down Santa, because Santa is not supposed to be a horrifying hillbilly rapist, with cold sores all over his face. You know what I mean?
Santa.
And his whole front is drenched in the blood of his previous victims, and he doesn't even have the full beard. It's just kind of swinging there, covered in blood. And I don't know, man. It's a really, I think one of the strongest openings to a TV show ever, because it's one of the best. It's still one of the best episodes of Tales from the Crypt, in my opinion. And just a great psycho portrayal. And his big tagline is, of course, naughty or nice.
By the way, the Silent Night, Deadly Night series eventually abandoned the concept of being a Christmas-themed horror thing and just started doing whatever the fuck it wanted.
Right.
So I don't.
Yeah, they should have been Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, the North Pole, dude, and Santa fucking lays waste to his own fucking workshop.
But yeah, there's not as many killer Santa movies as you would imagine there are. I'm looking at a list here. Most of them are pretty obscure B-movie shit.
And we looked into the mythology behind Christmas. It'd be so easy to fucking have a Santa come and punish the naughty kids. You have some kid you get a nice shiny fire truck. Thanks, Santa. Then the next house, he's a fucking demon. He tortures and fucking beats and fucking kills these kids.
I'm trying to think of the one where Bill Goldberg was in. I think it was called Santa's Sleigh, but
there's a bunch of really shitty B-movie Santa killer shits.
Yeah, most of them are really fucking B-movie-ish though. Oh yeah, here's I gotta admit, Goldberg is a pretty scary looking Santa. Hold on, I'll share the screen.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely going a way more traditional Santa inverted. It's not just a psycho in a Santa suit, Yeah,
he looks like he really is Santa, but just fucking,
fucking evil
as shit. Look at this.
That's pretty. I've actually seen. Oh, dude, I've scrolled by that on fucking Prime.
I might watch that next Christmas. I don't know.
It's on there, I think, or it was at some point. Yeah, it looks pretty fucking.
He doesn't like
honestly.
Jews.
What the hell? He's he's not tolerating any Jews on Christmas, I guess.
Populating hell. What? I don't know. What the fuck is this?
This is super low budget.
Have you guys seen Krampus?
I've no, I haven't.
I've not seen it.
I kind of recommend seeing it.
Yeah, I've heard it's all right.
You might actually like it way more than you think you would, and watch it around Christmas.
You know what kind of turned me off to it was the PG-13 though.
It doesn't. It really doesn't hurt the movie.
Okay.
It's kind of you know what it reminded me of?
What?
Fucking National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but with monsters.
So it's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely trying to be funnier than it is scary, but it actually succeeds in being genuinely creepy too, which is pretty rare in a movie.
Okay, yeah.
It's not the best movie I've ever seen. It's kind of cheesy and there's some bad parts.
Sure.
But on the balance, I was surprised it was pretty good.
We should do like some kind of Christmas horror marathon or something, you know?
That would be fun.
Dun, 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 dun. I
I
mean,
think Bill Hader's in it too, and you like Bill Hader, don't you?
Yeah.
I think he's in it.
Dreaming of a red.
Do you know what won me over with
Christmas.
Bill Hader? Because you know I used to really hate Bill Hader.
Used to
What
be a
won you
hater.
over? Used to be a
I
hater
changed-
hater.
I changed my mind. The YouTube algorithm changed my mind on Bill Hader because
Oh,
I was
yeah?
watching other comedians, and eventually, SNL's Every Stefan Ever came up on my timeline. That character Stefan that he used to play on the news on SNL back when I didn't watch it, so I missed the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
And that won me over. I was like, okay, he's funny. All right, fair enough.
I told you, man. He's actually a pretty good dramatic actor. I don't know. I know you're not into TV shows like I am, but
He just sucked in It Too so fucking bad.
okay. I
Yeah.
agree. I don't think that was
mean,
his fault. I mean, like that wasn't his fault,
Well,
but
it
like
sucked
he was
not
pretty
really.
bad. Like he clearly had no direction. Like he didn't know whether he was supposed to be the comedy relief or something the fuck else. I don't know what the fuck was going on.
Like,
That was horrible.
let's be honest. Even though you have to use that character sparingly, you have to pull off Pennywise. And the fact that the film didn't pull off Pennywise means everything else is going to fall apart after
Dude,
that.
hey, let me
In my opinion, it got close one time.
under the bleachers, right?
Yep, under the bleachers.
I
yeah.
agree.
In It
I
Too.
agree there.
That
It
was
got
about the closest it got.
Close to like, oh my god, okay, they nailed Pennywise finally. That's what I was thinking in the build-up that scene provides.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Then he turns into the boogly woog, and you're like,
And
"Nice,"
then
you
and
know.
then nothing like that happens again. Like none of the losers when they go to get their trinkets or whatever, which was such a stupid conceit to shorten the movie. Because in the film, all of that stuff kind of happens to the characters, but it happens organically as they're in the town for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you know, I guess they had. I mean, like if that contrivance probably would have been okay if they'd actually delivered on the scares.
But literally, it's if you actually think about it, if you actually break it down and think about each of the losers, who had a different one? What happened?
No, they
You
were all
went
pretty
to
much the same.
They all went to a place that
Yep.
they used to go when they were kids. They found something that they used to use when they were kids, and then a boogly monster popped out, and they had to run from it or beat it and get back.
Yep.
That's the same. It happened like what, 4 times in a row in the movie.
Yeah.
So
Well, it happened as many times as there were characters. I don't know.
The worst was Bill Hader's. The worst was like, and in the
I mean-
book, that statue of Paul Bunyan, like actually menacing him, is actually the way it's written.
Yeah.
It's really fucking scary.
It's
But the way it
kind
was
of-
presented, it was worse than Transformers.
Yeah. I mean, but like, in fairness to whoever had to adapt that, it's pretty fucking hard to actually make a giant statue
Bullshit.
of Paul Bunyan fucking scary in a fucking movie.
Bullshit. If they would have lit it right and built a giant practical puppet and shit with that's eyes lit up and smoke and shit came out of it
Yeah.
and made it move like that, it would have been fucking 200 times better.
I think
But
that
you know what? It would have cost 200 times
they
more,
should have
too.
set it at night, first of all, because
100%.
in
Or
broad
at least
daylight,
dusk.
it looked fucking silly as shit.
High noon, it was retarded.
They shouldn't have had other people around. It should have been more isolated. Maybe
I felt that
I,
way about pretty much everything in that movie.
I feel like
Was
it should
there-
have been in like disrepair or something, like, you know, kind of fucked up and dirty and shit.
I
don't
feel
know.
like it should have fallen into disrepair. Like it should have started as a normal statue, and then as he looked at it, maybe just like degraded a little bit, and then it should have moved herky jerky and shit. It shouldn't have just like, "Brr, I'm a giant Paul Bunyan." Like that was horrible.
It was terrible.
It was those lame, cheap, jump out of your fucking seat scared. Oh, it's a sudden thing.
I
Now you're
personally
suddenly
think they
fucked.
should have just not even done the Paul Bunyan statue bit. I think, you know, it works okay in the
Right.
book. I think it's really hard to make that work in a
But
movie.
honestly, it's more memorable because tell me, what happened to the fat kid?
The fat kid. Okay, hold on.
He becomes.
So wait, which one? Which adult does he
The one
become?
that
Because he's
used
not
to be
fat
the
anymore.
fat kid.
Yeah, he's not
he was
fat
fat
anymore as an
and-
adult.
and
Your
I-
hair is January fire.
Right. Oh,
Band
okay. Yeah,
members
yeah.
or
He
whatever.
went back to his old school, and
Yes,
there was
yes,
like
he was
someone on
cool.
fire or something. There was like a fire guy.
I had to rack my brain.
Is that what happened? Am I wrong?
He went
sounds right.
back. he went back to his old school, and then he became a kid again and was
Right.
sitting with Bev.
And then she like
But
lit on
instead
fire,
of
right?
being, but instead of being Bev, who's super nice, she like lights a cigarette and she's a total cunt to him.
Right.
And then she turns into the boogly monster and chases him, and he gets stuck in his locker just like he did when he was a little boy.
Okay.
And then it turns out that the boogly is in the locker with him, and then the other losers show up and they help him
Okay.
get away from the boogly. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, I
sounds
feel
right.
like there was like a fire at some. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares?
Well, yeah,
She was made of fire.
Okay.
Like when she became the boogly, her hair caught on fire and her eyes shot fire at him and shit, and then she became the boogly.
Okay.
You see, like the thing that Tim Curry had in that role was just that, like, there was it didn't have to be the boogly woogly shit. It just didn't have to be like the psychology of Pennywise. Like, I understand, like, oh, he's trying to get inside their heads, but it just didn't feel like it. Just felt like it was all just leading up to like he's gonna chase you and you're gonna be scared, and that's it. But there's not any like. It didn't feel like they were really being toyed with. It didn't really feel like it was a deep psychological dive.
Because it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. Like, you know what gag in the original made for TV It that Tim Curry pulled off that beat every fucking boogly gag in both It movies? The balloon scene from the library, culminating in the "you'll die if you try" speech.
Yeah.
And the way that the balloons popped in people's faces and sprayed them with blood, but only he could see it. And the way that Tim Curry approached that, he was menacing, but he was jokingly menacing. You know what I mean? Until he got actually menacing at the very fucking end. So it was like we actually got to see the soul of a clown in him pulling this prank that, you know, to a normal human being is fucking horrible. He's spreading blood everywhere, but he's just, he's sitting up there and having a great time. There was never a moment like that in any of these films, except for Underneath the Bleachers. The way he lured the little girl,
Yeah, it was a great scene.
the way that he talked to her, the way that she responded to him, like, 'cause she didn't come right to him, you know, he had to like convince her. So he cried and
Well, she had that like childlike wonder. She had the, oh, I'm chasing this thing. I'm gonna go here, like this innocent sort of thing. And he has the fucking perfect, come to me, my child, come.
best scene in the film. And if they would have established that Pennywise and kept it that level of fucking menace throughout, it's like, okay, I hate to go off on this fucking It rant, but I guess it's just got to be done. So let's just do it.
Do what you gotta do.
You guys know the scene that they released as a teaser where Bev goes home to the place where she used to live with her dad, and she finds the old woman living there. That
Now, the
scene
lead up to it is good.
No, that's the thing. That scene had so much fucking potential to be great. Because the lead up to it and the way it's kind of slowly but surely revealed that something is off with the old lady, that's great. And then literally,
Oh my
right
God,
when
yeah.
the tension is highest, the lady turns into a giant boogly monster and chases her out of the fucking room.
She's so lame. I love it.
Contrast that with the same scene from the fucking made for TV film where it's slowly revealed and Bev goes, I need to use the bathroom, and goes back to the sink and sees it fill with blood again. And then she comes back out and the lady's all fucked up, but still trying to be nice to her. And then slowly turns into Pennywise, who turns into her dad and chases her out. Like, that was infinitely creepier and more psychologically and emotionally effective than anything that came from that fucking scene. Because what you want from that scene is you want Bev to have to reconnect with her abuse. That's why Stephen King brought her back there, because that's her demon. That's her Pennywise. The way that Pennywise got to her weakness was that her father was physically and sexually abusing her for most of her life. And that's how he got to her. And all it is just a boogly old woman. It's never even really, it's like, there's a picture of Pennywise standing there, and we get to find out, that Pennywise was an actual clown back in the 1930s. That's the big revelation in that scene, remember?
Yeah.
Oh, is this your dad? Oh, yes, that's Papa.
It looks just like Pennywise. What a coincidence. Yeah, it's just force fed down your throat, dude. And then a stupid jump scare. They make the monster. It's ridiculous.
The monster is
But
so
see, there's
dumb,
no way
too.
they can make that movie PG-13. Which wasn't it?
No, it was R.
Okay. Then why was it written like a fucking PG-13 movie? Why did it fucking dance around Beverly's abuse?
Because I don't know, because it was supposed to be like,
Why did
it
it
really
dance
just-
around the racism?
it
that
really
was
felt like they
perpetrated
just turned
against
it-
the fucking little black kid. Why did it?
they turned it into a goddamn theme park ride.
Like that, because if you remember I can't remember what his name is in the film because there's so many names, but the little black kid, he has to confront the racism because that's how Pennywise got to him in the book.
Yes.
He took the hatred of the fucking community and the people that hated him in the community and appeared to him as them and made them more evil towards him and shit. Does he confront that in this film? No, he becomes a fucking weird mystical Indian shaman that smokes some kind of herb that makes him be able to see. Like, why did they turn his character into an Indian shaman? You know what I mean? They just danced around the whole racism angle with him. The fat kid, unrequited love. That's the only thing that we get in this movie. And it's done so shabbily.
And the
And so
black
haphazardly.
dude was named Mike.
Mike, sorry, yeah. Mike
Yeah.
Insland, yeah. Even the fucking suicide scene of what's his name was worse in this movie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I also like how the TV movie series dealt with that. Like they come into Derry and it's like, Pennywise is the greatest. Oh, not that. Yeah, take anyone you want. Oh, except the one on the end. You know, it's
not
kinda
only that,
like-
but like they did this weird thing in that movie where they made it seem like Stanley's suicide was like noble or some shit.
Right.
Like they did this
Like
weird
it
thing
was-
at the
like
end
he
where it's
should
like,
have done it.
yeah, like that was my part to play in all this. Like I killed myself.
had to
I-
be dead.
Like,
'Cause-
no, the idea is he's so fucking terrified of it that he doesn't want to face it.
Right. That's the fucking.
But we can't show that in a movie now because it might encourage people who are terrified of other things in their lives to go do the same thing.
Well, it's more encouraging of suicide because it's like, yeah, I would have just been a burden on you guys, so I just went ahead and killed myself for you. And people are like, wow, he really did a noble thing. It's like, what? Wait a minute, huh?
He took one for the team.
Yeah, like I knew that I would have just slowed you guys down, so I offed myself.
Once again,
Part one had a lot of people defending it and saying like when you guys attacked it, I mean, fairly criticized it in my opinion, but part two had way less in the with defense.
Here's why. Because I think we were a little bit uncharitable in one way. The child actors that were in part one actually were really effective. Like they did a really good job in comparison to most child actors. They were a cohesive unit. They actually did a good job of like establishing their characters. And I don't think we were very charitable about that because we were so fucking disappointed by their antagonist.
Yeah, and so disappointed by the way
Pennywise.
the story was being handled too.
So
But no,
that's
you
probably why we
gotta
got
give
so
props
much
to those
Ned.
kids, and also I gotta say that the child actors not only they did. I mean, I don't know if this is a credit to them or a discredit to the adult actors or just a discredit to the directing, but those characters were more fucking richly developed and interesting as kids than they were as adults. But
Well,
that was
the
also
prob-
true in
the
the
pro-
fucking original miniseries. Like the kids in that one were better, although they were. The acting all around was terrible in the original miniseries,
Like
though.
one of the things that they danced around, so here's the thing, and correct me if I'm wrong because it has been like 9 or 10 years since I read it in its entirety. Okay,
Yeah.
and if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, each one of the quote unquote losers, as they're called,
Yeah,
right,
Losers Club.
Yeah.
as an adult, has a demon that they're struggling with that isn't really Pennywise.
Yeah.
Like, by the time they're adults.
Right.
So Beverly is in an abusive relationship that mirrors the one that she was in with her father.
Yeah.
And Ben, who is a successful business magnate, but is still pining away for Beverly and has never really found love and is totally unfulfilled by his success.
Yeah.
Yes.
So his depression is his demon. And Richie, kind of the same thing, is hampered by alcoholism. He's a great fucking stand-up, but he doesn't see it in himself. He's like literally in front of arenas and shit. He's this big national figure, but he doesn't take it seriously enough to do anything with it because of his alcoholism. Right?
Yeah.
Mike Insland is forced to kind of stay in the town that hated him, and now he's in this position of kind of semi-reverence as this central figure in the town, but he lives with all the people that used to treat him like shit and has to deal with the covert racism of And on top of that, he's the only one that really has to deal with Pennywise constantly. So
and he's the only one that didn't get to achieve like great success in life in some regard.
He didn't get a chance to even leave his shitty town.
Yeah.
All these other people squandered their chances to leave their shitty town and got all this success and still ended up miserable. What's his name? The stuttering guy. What's his name? He's in. So his demons are he's a fantastic fucking writer.
Well, yeah, but he's a horror writer and stuff. So like obviously
Right.
he's still working through.
Well, in
So
this one, he's basically on a
he's-
movie set. He's doing like he's like a screenwriter at this point.
But in the film, I'm talking about in the book though.
Okay.
So the book character, he's a writer that struggles with his own demons through his writing. That's in kind of a sham marriage. And that's his demon. His demon is that no matter how many of these books that he writes, he feels it's just being commercialized and he can never get to the core of the actual horror that he's trying to deal with back in Derry.
Yeah.
Well, they
And
like,
then
in the book,
Eddie's like
they
he's like a bitch to his mom, like when
Right.
he's like her little like
the
he's got a controlling mother, and then he fucking moves on to a very controlling wife.
Well, now we're talking about Eddie.
Eddie, yeah.
Now. So Eddie, yeah.
Well, yeah, I said Eddie.
I was talking about the stuttering kid.
No, I'm talking
Bill.
about I know Bill. I thought we were
Right,
done
but
with
Eddie,
Bill.
Yeah. Eddie has this totally domineering mother. He's totally overly protected. He's like a little helicopter child
Yep.
who was helicopter parented. And then he moves on to have the same kind of wife that just doesn't let him handle any of the finances and tells him what to do and how to be and how to dress and never lets him go do anything on his own. And that's his demon.
And
It's
then
like he doesn't have any courage, even though he was the one that defeated it in the first place.
well, it's like they're all kind of like stuck at a point in their life. They're stuck in the same pathology, and they can't break away from that until they kind of defeat Pennywise. Like Pennywise,
But really, all of them coming back together is really what defeats Pennywise, because it's all of them actually dealing with the racism and the abuse and the drug abuse and the self-doubt and the unrequited love and all the shit that's kept them locked in place for, most of their lives. And now they're in their 30s, you know what I mean? And they're gone nowhere, really, in terms of personal development and their own happiness.
True. Yeah. You can definitely see that in the story. Like,
So, but was there an inkling of that in this movie? In the transition from child actors to fucking adult actors? Did you
No.
get an inkling of that in this
there's a
film?
total disconnect. There's a total disconnect.
no,
between
because
those-
they want everything is even when those things start to be explored, it's like the moment things start to actually get uncomfortable, they just throw a jump scare at you. They throw a monster pops out,
Right. But there's even like, it seems to dance around it. Like, was Richie, played by Bill Hader in this movie, an alcoholic that wouldn't drink?
I don't even recall.
I mean, I don't think it's memorable enough to really.
It should have been central to the fucking character. Do you remember it being a part of his character that he wouldn't?
I remember his character being really hard to get a read on, because it was almost like he was directed very differently depending on the scene. Like 1 minute he's a coward, the next minute he's brave, 1 minute he's fucking making jokes, the next minute he's fucking scared out of his mind. It's just like you don't know where, like you can't even get a handle on the fucking character as he plays it.
all over the place. It's a muddled script. It's confused. It doesn't feel like a logical continuation of part one. I think part one, showed promise, and I just think with part two, it just completely under delivers. And like the themes Paul talked about, it's like, do you feel any of these deep emotional connections that you
It's
need
like-
to have?
It's
And you
like in the book, Ben, the fat kid,
Uh-huh.
right? He is running away from his dairy self because he believes that he has to prove to all of the people who looked at him and saw a big fat ass that he can achieve. So what does he do? Completely remakes himself physically, becomes a physically fit guy, completely dominates in his field and succeeds in every way, becomes this top engineer with this big skyrise fucking, office and shit, and is still motherfucking miserable. He finds out that it was never that he was fat. His fatness had nothing to do with it. It was that he was never his self in the book. He never followed his true passions. He never actually allowed himself to do what he wanted to do because he was so busy trying to conform himself to what everybody wanted him to be. I get passionate just talking about the character of Ben from It, and I haven't read the book in 10 years. There wasn't an inkling of that in this movie.
I honestly can't even remember what the adult version of him looked like or who played him or anything.
He can't leave. He's stuck in the state of mind of the fat little kid.
You know how that was dealt with in this movie? In this movie, he shows up and everybody goes, "Whoa, you're not fat anymore." And he's like, "Yeah, I got in shape." And that's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm living my best self, guys. Hang 10.
Yeah, it's totally
I
retarded.
started CrossFit.
Yeah, I CrossFit. I do yoga.
And do intermittent fasting. You know what I mean? And I bulk up on Wednesdays. I've got like a protein shake I make. It's like, what the fuck? Like, fuck you, movie. And every one of these characters has a similarly passionate backstory in it. That's why it's a seminal work of fucking fiction. That's why it's like one of the best fiction novels ever written. That's why it's so crazy dense. Because every bit of this is supported by reams of non-expository shit. It's just like you live in Derry for the first half of the book. It's not the first half of the book, you're introduced to the characters, but it's really about the town. You know what I mean? There was not an inkling of that in this. Just a bunch of homophobes come out of nowhere at the beginning of the second movie.
Oh, and really awkward too, that homophobe shit.
There was no basis in reality for it because they said it in modern times. Now, had they said it back when it was supposed to be taking place?
Yeah, because the homophobia scenes were supposed to happen in the 80s, which they moved the child scenes to the 80s, which doesn't, like, it just fucks the book up. I mean, like, it just doesn't work.
It really does.
Like, the changing of the time periods really just messed everything up. Like, if you were going to do that, you had to, I guess you could have done that, but you'd have had to change other things about the book to make that work. And it's like, the stuff that they keep doesn't make sense anymore because there's not, like, I get there's still homophobia in America. I'm not saying it's extinguished or something, but the fucking strain of homophobic violence that, like, was portrayed in the beginning of that movie was, like, I'm not going to say it flat out doesn't exist anymore, but that's not, like, even remotely a commonplace. There's not, like, a bunch of dudes like, I sure hope no faggots show up, because if they do, I'm going to beat their ass.
Like, what?
It's in Maine, dude. It's not in, like, Alabama.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like out on the East Coast. It's not. There's just no impetus for it, and it's like I guess it's implied that Pennywise made him done do it or whatever because he was around.
Pennywise
like,
done made them.
Like the whole point of the movie, like or the book, because there's a book in the scene where a homosexual guy gets beaten to death by a bunch of fucking homophobes and dumped in the river. The point of that in the movie is not that Pennywise is forcing this to happen. It's that he's feeding on it because the undercurrent of homophobia and racism and all the bullshit going on in Derry is what really feeds Pennywise and makes it more powerful.
Yeah, it's the level of fear.
And there's no indication of that. In the movie, it's loosely implied that it were Pennywise what made them all homophobic.
Yeah, it's lame, dude.
Pennywise is like, you hate the gays. You know?
Much like the Lighthouse, you know, for things like, you know, show, don't tell, you know, the mythological elements, the myth making of Pennywise, you know, like Pennywise should be built up so much greater, and it should be shown through his actions, and it should be shown through the things he does. Like you said, like in the TV series, they don't have to have Pennywise doing anything besides making bad jokes and acting like and acting clownish and having these balloons filled with blood blow up in people's faces. It's just
and then every once in a while becoming what he really is and showing his teeth and his eyes and shit. You know what I mean?
Like I just didn't feel like he toyed with them enough. I didn't feel like the way it was more just like he's spooky, he's creepy. Oh, it's so weird. Oh, look what he can do. It's like, no, I want Pennywise inside their fucking head, just showing them like I can play with you. I don't have to kill you. Why would I kill you? I want you to suffer.
The way that they defeat Pennywise was the most insulting shit.
Oh, fuck that, dude. I was so mad when I saw that.
No pun intended, because that's how they defeat Pennywise, by the way. They insult him to death.
Yeah, they fucking... Triumph the Insult Comedy Dog would have fucking been able to defeat Pennywise.
For me to poop on. You're a pretty good clown. You know, I like clowns. You know, can you do a trick, clown? No? Oh, that's a pretty good trick for me to poop on.
Let's recut the movie with Triumph the Insult Comedy Dog versus
It actually probably would have been better, but it's still insulting. No, just the way that Pennywise is defeated by them, they don't really have to do anything other than sling bullshit at him. It's just like
you're a dummy, Pennywise. You're a real loser.
It's not about facing like because here's how they beat him in the book. They each have to face their own personal demons. And sometimes that comes in the form of Pennywise or some horrible incident from their childhood or some interaction with Pennywise in their childhood that's usually surrounded by some horrible time in their childhood. And they each have to come to terms with that in order to beat Pennywise.
Their journeys have to all simultaneously come around full circle.
And they have to deal with one another too. Like all of the shit that stands between them as people because of the trauma that they collectively went through, not only dealing with Pennywise, but living in that little fucking town.
Oh,
with all the prejudice and all the fucking economic disparity and all the racism and all the bullshit. It all has to be dealt with in order for fucking Pennywise to be dealt with.
Yeah, the town is a character that's not even really that it will explored in the movies. The power.
There's no Derry in this movie. Yeah. Derry is not a character in this movie, and on that level alone, the movies fail. On that level alone, they're failures because it has to be. Like Stephen King novels, most of his great ones are time capsules. Reading The Stand again recently was like going back in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's specifically that way. Tons of songs are referenced, and these are songs that were popular at the time he was writing or songs that were important to him from 20 years ago. These are all important elements of his fiction. And when you strip it away and modernize it, you gut 90% of the intent, especially in a movie like It. It is about a time. It's about the 50s and it's about the 80s and how we really haven't come that far. We haven't come as far as we think we have. All of the evils of the 50s are still around. There's still abuse. There's still racism. And it's all told through the lens of this little tiny town that thinks of itself as a progressive place. But the undercurrent is all just shittiness.
And how those things just evolve and change. How they
it's a referendum on humanity at the time. It's like saying we're still a bunch of fucking racists. We're still a bunch of homophobes. Nothing has changed. Like we like to pretend like we're way more progressive than we were in the 50s, but women are still treated, poorly, and there's still abuse, and the cycle continues. That's what the book is about. There wasn't an inkling of that in these films.
Nope. In the films, it really is just like there's an evil clown, kill it.
It's a nostalgia bomb.
Monsters.
They set the kid part in the 80s because, oh my God, the nostalgia. Listen, oh man, is that Cyndi Lauper I hear on the radio as they're riding their BMXs around on their boombox? Whoa!
The arcade, play some video games. Oh man, this is
it wasn't.
Oh no, an evil clown, guys! No! I'm evil. Oh my God, is he symbolic of any of the socio-economic turmoil of our times? No, I'm just an evil clown. Blah! It's like, okay.
This movie was not an indictment of the 80s.
It's not an indictment of anything other than the stupidity of the audience watching
modern time. It wasn't meant to be a time capsule of modern times or the 80s. It was just meant to milk the nostalgia of the people that watched it.
Yeah, we already have Stranger Things for that. We don't need you to fucking try to do the same job.
The social commentary was gone from the film
completely.
That is literally the heart of the book. The heart of the book is coming to understand that Derry itself drew Pennywise to it. Mm-hmm. Pennywise was drawn to Derry initially.
If you believe that Pennywise has the power to go anywhere he wants, why Derry?
Right. I guess technically in the lore he landed there long ago.
Right, but I mean, he clearly found something dark and horrible to feed on in the hearts of mankind.
I can ask why infinitely, but it's like it's very clearly a decision made for a reason. It's not just it. I mean, Pennywise is not a haphazard character where it's like I'm just gonna go there because why not?
Right. And they tried to play on that in the movie by making this stupid Indian aside. Is that in the book?
It is.
So there's like this, there like a retelling of. Okay, I vaguely remember it.
It's in there. It's
I
not.
don't remember it being central to the book.
It's
or to
not
the-
as central. And then, like, honestly, it doesn't even make as much sense because they cut out a lot of the other stuff. That's like they cut out the turtle and stuff, didn't they? Or they had.
Yeah, no, they did have it, but it was some stupid.
It was very vaguely referenced.
I think they
Yeah.
just reference it, but they don't actually show it, right? Or something like
Yeah.
that.
So
I don't remember, but they didn't. They cut
So-
out a lot of a lot of the fucking spiritual shit was cut out. So I don't know why they kept that. It didn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I could go on and on about these.
Apparently, we
movies.
could because like the, no, it's
I don't know
horrible.
I don't know. You know, we never really decided how long these go, and I don't know if people are gonna think this is rambly and shitty. I don't know.
I don't know. Who cares?
I just like no. Well, seriously though, I like sitting around and talking movies with people who care about movies,
'Cause-
and especially when it comes to movies that are based on literature that we've all read, like it.
Yeah,
We
and
all-
I,
we
I
all-
wonder
yeah.
how. I fucking it pisses me off when I see like Stephen King, like pretending that he likes that shit.
dude, Paul, what I'm really looking forward to is when Dune comes out. Discussing that one. That one might
Oh,
be like
yeah.
a 5-hour episode or something.
I mean, me and TJ sat down for like 3 hours and talked about Joker after we saw it. I mean, there are certain movies that really, I mean, and The Lighthouse didn't inspire that long of a conversation. I think we've talked about more than The Lighthouse.
Well, The
now.
Lighthouse, you know, the thing about The Lighthouse is because you can bring so many different interpretations to it. It's almost just
Right.
like it's more of a Rorschach. Whereas, like
it's more of a movie that you just want to encourage other people to watch
Yeah.
and hear what their
Whereas
interpretation
like,
is.
when it comes to
you know,
it, like there's like some pretty specific themes that exist in the book that are just like totally glossed over in the movie.
Well, look, in the Lighthouse 2 is a movie that I feel like kind of like The Shining. Like it's a film that I want to go back and watch over and over again and see different things and think about it from different perspectives and not just say, okay, like because my first viewing, I feel like this movie is like I get it, but then I want to look back at it and see if I'm like, hey, do I still agree with that? Do I see this in it? You know,
Right.
and I think that's kind of like why there's certain movies like you go back to. It's like you want to examine parts and elements of the film and maybe look at a different perspective. Maybe you're at a different point in your life because you're not, you know, maybe you're more self-reflective, so you see that in the film. It's like it's what you put into it, and it's what your state of mind is.
To
too.
me, that's what makes a film buff. Honestly, it's not how many quote unquote foundational movies you've seen or whatever. It's just actually loving watching movies and then discussing them with people that makes you a film buff. Like knowing every work by every great director and shit. Like that type of that's trivia to me.
It's cool.
Like it's cool, and some people are like that, and to some people that's part of being a film buff. But I'm not like that. Like, you know, I've seen a lot of great movies, but there's a lot of movies out there I haven't seen, and I can't name a lot of directors, and I have trouble with names and actors sometimes. I'm not one of these people that catalogs that. I just love watching a film, like, and thinking about it and discussing it with somebody that has also watched it and theorizing about it and trying to find out what the intent of the filmmaker is, because it really is a window into the movie maker's mind. You know what I mean?
Oh, completely.
No matter what kind of movie it is, whether it's Beverly Hills Chihuahua or fucking, you know what I mean, The Lighthouse.
Well, me and TJ were indoctrinated early because our dad had such a love, and it goes back in our family, a love of film and cinema and stuff. And he was always watching a movie. It's like one thing that definitely carried over to me and TJ. He was always watching something. Like he had.
You guys are very lucky. You guys were very lucky to have a strong influence like that in your lives that kind of guided you towards movies, even though TJ's told some stories that your dad had some pretty shit taste in movies.
Oh my god.
But yeah, he definitely did. But he had seen like there's so many movies that I've seen. Some because my dad's like, well, this movie's about this. Movie's about that. Like I remember like I saw the movie Logan's Run because my dad was like, oh, it's some weird sci-fi movie. Yeah, you should watch it. It's just shit like that. Like I mean, and he'd seen a bunch of bad movies, but just the fact that he had lived that time period, you know, like from the 50s, you know, and obviously going back to even the 30s, but like, you know, as far as movies that would be toured, but like from the 50s until like the 90s. So I got like all these movies that I never would have known about just 'cause our dad knew about them and just his appreciation of cinema and film. Like he didn't like romantic comedies, which I'm not a big fan of, but there's some that I've enjoyed. There's some I've seen that I'm like, it's all right.
That's really cool. That culture didn't really exist in my little town. So I was very lucky to have my Aunt Barbara, who had an illegal cable box back in the day. I think the statute of limitations is over, so I can reveal.
And we had one too when we were kids.
Yeah, she had the one that was wiggity wired, you know, and you got all the unscrambled channels and shit. And she would
for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, she had a VCR, and she would buy just like stacks of blank tapes, and she would tape HBO basically all day for me because she knew, because we used to go over there and chill. And of course, the parents are all partying and drinking and doing what parents are doing, you know, and the kids are off in the room watching a movie. Well, my sisters and shit, they used to go off and play, and they didn't really care about movies as much. Sometimes they'd sit and watch, but I was always like, I want to watch a movie. I want to watch a movie. I want to watch a movie. I want to watch this. I want to watch this. And then I'd go to her every time and I'd say, Aunt Barbara, can I please borrow this movie? You know, and she'd be like, oh, honey, you take it. You know, it's just, so I was so lucky because she just taped all of these movie channels, all the pay-per-view channels for me. And I got to see all these fucking movies, man, through her, because she'd just give my mom tapes at work, and my mom would bring home this stack of tapes, and she'd label them and shit like Fraggle Rock and, you know, Die Hard and blah, 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 blah.
Our dad and just consistently every week would go see whatever. If like he would just go to the movies like every fucking week. Like he didn't care if there was nothing opening. He didn't care if it was shit. He'd just still go.
Well, I'll tell you what.
After
this COVID shit is over, I just want to do that for 1 year. I'm just gonna go to a fucking movie every
week for a year.
See unfortunately for me, and I think there's just an economic circumstance, and I'm not trying to say you guys, you know, whatever. You guys were pretty lucky to grow up with a lot of money and shit.
Yeah.
Like going to the movies for me, I was not poor. Clearly, you know, my parents were middle class to lower middle class by the time I was a teenager.
Yeah.
But yeah, going to the movies was like a special thing. You know what I mean? We went once in a blue moon. Because it was expensive as fuck to take everybody to the movies and shit. Yeah. So, but I always loved going.
You know what happened a lot of times was like our parents wouldn't go; they just drop us off. So me and TJ saw a lot of movies. Was just like,
that's dope.
You know,
that's cool. That did happen. Once I became a teenager, a lot of the money that I had.
Scott, do you remember the first movie that they let us go see on our own?
Was it Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
No.
Or was it before that?
It was a little before. It was before that.
Was it Event Horizon?
No, it wasn't. We saw that with Uncle Guy.
Oh, what the fuck was it, dude?
I remember mine.
We saw First Contact with Uncle Guy. I don't think we saw Event Horizon with him.
No, we saw Event Horizon with Uncle Guy.
We did.
I remember because afterwards he was bitching about how the guy was able to navigate his way back to the ship, even though he was like all the way in like space and shit.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I do remember.
So what was it again?
What was it though? I guess
I can't believe you don't remember.
Dude, I was a little fucking kid.
I mean, he's younger than you, man. It's hard to remember that shit.
You're an idiot, Scotty.
What movie fucking? Oh, George of the Jungle?
There is a mystery.
No, Scotty. Wrong.
Elusive.
Oh,
wrong, bitch.
Oh, Twister.
Violent. It terrifies most scientists.
This is a great movie, by the way.
Breed, the challenge is saving lives.
9 then. I was like,
yeah,
it's like 9 or 10.
It is fucking Twister, bitch.
Dude, Twister gets a bad fucking rap. I got to be honest with you.
Twister is a bad fucking movie. It's not good.
Yeah, I disagree.
See, it's not.
I fully disagree. I love Twister. I love the characters in Twister. I actually really love Bill Paxton in Twister. I love Carrie Elwes in Twister. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman's character in Twister. I love is it Helen? It's not Helen Hunt.
It is Helen Hunt, yes.
Helen Hunt's character is actually pretty fucking decent in the movie. I love Twisters.
I love how they survived the F5.
It's great. They just put the belt around the pipe, dude. Just go behind the toilet and put your belt around the pipe.
Yeah, and somehow you'll just live. It won't matter.
It's a fucking totally absurd movie, I'll admit, but I love the fucking when the cow flies by and shit. It's just early 90s fucking or mid 90s fucking CG cheese. But I really love the performances in it. People shit on that movie, and I think Twister's pretty fucking good, honestly. Like it's a high octane movie. I love Carrie Elwes' shitty fucking character. I love how he dies. I love watching his stupid truck get sucked into the fucking F5 like a.
Okay, but you know what? I have to say this. Well, the movie is a cheesy movie, and you know what? Whatever.
It is.
But, I mean, like when you go into it, you know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, as a little kid, I thought it was a real film, but I mean, I'm dum-dum. Dude, the Twister fucking ride at Universal, which they got rid of. Like, did you guys ever do that ride?
No.
No.
Oh
You went in there. I knew it was
Oh,
bullshit.
wait. Are you talking about the one that was on the fucking tram in Universal in LA?
No, that was like Disaster or whatever. That was like the thing where like you go
Oh,
through,
you're right. It was a different movie.
yeah, it's like supposed to be a bunch of disaster scenes or whatever.
I went through that.
Dude, the fucking twist. I'm like, okay, Twister, how are they gonna do this like a ride? You're gonna spin around a bunch or something? You just walk through it. They have a really bad fucking shitty VHS at the time. It was like fucking having those lines. Shit's like the power of the Twister. You will fear the Twister. And I'm like, okay, man, the fucking Twister. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do to me, but like, I figure they're just psyching you up for the ride. You know, they have like if you're waiting in a long ass line, it's like they build up the ride, like the mummy will get you or whatever. So it's like they kept talking about the power of the Twister. I'm like, all right, dude. I'm ready for the power of the Twister. So they build it up for like 30 minutes. Some with a bunch of sweaty motherfuckers. You know, you're waiting. We finally get into the room. It's like, there's a room. I'm like, okay. So what are we going to do in this room? And they're like, behold the power of the Twister. And it was the ride was like dilapidated. It was like the flame barely shot out. It's
Dude,
like,
what a mess.
it kind of gets a little windy. I shit you not, like one drop of water hit my face. Like, the storm is powerful. Like one drop of water hits me, I kind of feel a weak flame.
What
feel
a
like
total mess.
it's like spinning shit around like really slowly and like awkwardly, and it's like,
You know what that reminds me of? Did you ever go on the what was that fucking movie about fire? Fuck. Remember back in like the 90s, there was this movie about fire, Backdraft.
Yeah,
Backdraft.
It's a shit movie.
It's
a shit movie.
It's a Ron Howard movie.
Yeah,
But
not great.
Backdraft was a ride. And I remember we waited in a long ass fucking line for Backdraft
You fucking did not.
at fucking Universal Studios. Because we went a few times when I was a kid. I was lucky. I got to go a couple times.
It's the one in LA, right?
Yeah. The LA one. And we waited in line for this shit. And I shit you not, they walk you, like you wait in this long ass fucking line, right? And they walk you into this room. And there's a place for everybody to stand. And there's a railing. And then there's a glass, like an obvious glass partition. And there's a normal looking room in front of you. Like a big kind of living room looking thing with a kitchen off to the side and shit.
Oh shit.
And you stand there and it takes fucking forever to get everybody to file in, and they eventually cut off the line. And the shit catches on fire. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you stand there for like 20 minutes waiting for it to fucking burn down. Everything burns down, and then you leave. And then I guess everything goes back together, and they bring another group of people. It was the fucking stupidest shit I've ever seen in my life.
I'll tell you what, I bet you they did the same thing to you, because I was leaving the Twister ride. They're like, they have the end video like, now you've experienced the power of the Twister. And I'm like, yeah
this was it.
This is
I remembered wrong. It wasn't a fucking living room. It was an industrial area.
yeah.
This is exactly what it was.
This is Backdraft. It's not even a ride. It's just like a experience or whatever.
Yeah,
No,
dude,
well, they sold it like it was a fucking
They
ride,
closed
'cause
this
Scotty is
in-
totally fucking right. They did the whole Twister shit with me. In the line, there was fucking video monitors up on the wall and shit, and they were like, experience the heat. You've never felt the flames this. And you know, in their defense, they did have it rigged to where some of the explosions or whatever, you would like feel the heat come off it or what. That was the big
Yeah.
experience.
Whoa.
You'd be like, and you'd be like,
Whoa. Yeah, this is
Okay.
this is the ride, I guess. You go in
Yeah,
here and
so-
you see stuff burn in a very controlled manner.
like something falls over and it starts a fire, and then a big fire starts and a bunch of things explode, and you go, whoa, and it's like,
see if you can find a picture of the Twister one from Universal.
Okay.
I'll tell you what though, Universal, the tram ride in LA was dope
Yeah, that was a fun one.
because it was like a combo of like informative and cool movie trivia shit and fun little rides and shit. Like they would sometimes blend the two. Like you got to see where they filmed Jaws, and then they built a fake Jaws that would come out of the water and menace the fucking cart.
Love the Jaws ride, dude. That's a ride that should be brought back. I'm
Well,
telling you.
that was just part of the fucking tram, dude. You would just pull up and they'd be like, here's where the movie Jaws was filmed, and we got somebody fishing out there. Oh, wait. Then they would go, donna, 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 and you'd see the fin, and everybody'd go, no, you know, and then the fucking boat would get blown up, and the guy would fly into the water, and it would turn red. And then all of a sudden, like, the tram guy would go, we got to get out of here, and he'd hit the gas, and then all of a sudden the fucking track would go, and like part of the tram would move towards the water.
You lean
Yeah.
towards
You'd lean towards it, and then Jaws would come right next to it, and you'd be like,
Oh, dude, I touched Jaws, dude.
you're not supposed to, but yeah, I did too.
I was like Jaws.
Yeah,
Oh, I
poked
missed
him
the
too.
Jaws thing. That was fun.
And then eventually he's able to get control of the tram, and he pulls away, and he's like, "Oh, that was a close one."
Okay,
you know?
this here we go. I don't know. You Scotty. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here, so you can help out. So like it's like this.
Yes.
This looks even worse than the fucking. Oh my god, they downgraded. It's
the power of the twister, guys. Yep, that's where
Wow.
it used to be. Oh man.
Here's a picture of it. I guess it's
Yeah.
in its glory or whatever the fuck.
what a
Oh,
fucking
dude,
nightmare.
I think that's like the actual ride. I think they have a video of it, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks like it. That looks like what Scotty described. It's the same shit. It's literally the same scam. Yep.
All right, everyone, kill your cameras.
Dude, it was probably in the same building and shit.
Are you guys ready for the power of the twister?
All right, I'm ready to
God.
face the power
This
of
is
the
so
Twister, dude.
This is so cheap already.
I'm
I
glad
hate it
that
already.
I'm glad I never went in this shit.
Yeah.
What am I looking at? All right, come on.
Yeah, just skip ahead until something happens. Oh, there's like a movie, just like Scotty said. It's like a Twister movie that plays.
What am I even looking at? This is garbage.
And
Oh
then
no,
lightning
the
goes off
Twister.
and there's a big fake tornado.
Oh shit, the Twister. Oh no! Oh god, no!
The power of the twister.
Holy shit, no!
What a crock of bullshit.
Maybe if you're like a little kid or something, you might be.
Like the super little kids that were like held up like on the rail or wherever was watching or wherever the viewing area was. They seemed to like it, but yeah, that was about it.
Yeah,
What a crock of bullfuck, dude.
this is okay. There's a little fire happens.
Maybe it did 10. I'll be generous.
I don't know why. I don't know why the Twister lit the sewer on fire, but I guess it did.
The gas lines or something, dude. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
What a crock of shit.
And there's like
What
a
fucking
smatter of
disappointing
rain.
Crock of fucking shit.
Now imagine waiting an hour to do that.
Yeah. You know what used to be dope back at Universal though?
Oof.
The stunt shows. The what was it? Fucking Miami Vice was a big fucking
Hold up.
80s.
So I think they
show.
closed the Twister ride.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
replaced
they should have.
or something or Transformers. They with something else.
No,
Dude,
it was
the
replaced
live-
by.
the
Wait, no.
live stunt shows at
Doesn't make
fucking
sense.
Universal used to be dope as fuck.
What replaced TJ?
That's not true. Hold on.
Maybe it's the Walking Dead experience.
Oh, it's
or some
been
shit, huh?
replaced by that like some the Jimmy Fallon ride, I guess.
Oh my
Oh.
god.
So even worse.
The Jimmy Fallon ride?
Yeah, there's like a race through New York starring Jimmy Fallon.
I've never been on that ride before.
Yeah, the attraction was
No.
closed on November 2nd, 2015. It was subsequently replaced with Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon. So honestly, that's worse. Should have just kept Twister.
Yeah. Should have kept Twister.
I hate Jimmy
Should've just been
Fallon so
Twister.
much. I can't even imagine putting up with Jimmy Fallon. Right? If the ride ends with Jimmy Fallon dying, I guess I'd do it. I remember
Yeah,
even
maybe
being.
it's just watching Jimmy Fallon die in a bunch of different ways.
I remember being in Universal and being like, "Should I go on the Jimmy Fallon ride?" And I was like, "No, I don't think I should."
Dude, just ride the Mummy twice.
Yeah, fuck
Ride the Mummy
this.
twice, dude. Don't go on the Jimmy Fallon fucking ride.
Dude, the Mummy ride at California Disney is straight legit.
Cool.
Dude, I have to go on it at some point, dude, because
Yeah.
Mummy one of
Dude,
Universal, one of my favorites.
If you get to go, all you got to do is because you go in and you walk through Main Street, just hang left, dude. You'll walk by the Tiki Room and then it's right there.
Tiki
Sweet.
room.
Easy to find. That's why I love, dude. Disneyland. I'm gonna fucking probably offend you guys, but Disneyland is superior in every way to Disney World, at least the Disney part of Disney World.
No, dude, me and Taylor talked about it, and we pretty much agreed. Disneyland is better because
Superior in every fucking way.
it's smaller.
Dude.
It's smaller, but that actually benefits it in a lot
It's
of ways.
smaller and it's easier because it's easier to get around. It's like designed logically so that if you take a left or a right, you get to see all the attractions and you make a circuit of the park and you come back to where you started.
Because we had a pretty good time, and we went there just for a single day. Like we just did like 1 day at Disneyland.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, and it was great. We spent a full day there, and we're like, yeah, we're going to Disneyland. It wasn't like we need to go for 4 or 5 fucking days.
All right,
the
now
same.
we're gonna go to the Pirates of the Caribbean. And that's gonna be a 5-day trek. So
In California, you come down, the restaurant's right there. I really love that
Yeah.
part. So it's like if you could eat in that place, you can look at look at the motherfuckers coming down and shit, dude. It's just like there's the cool little things like that about it.
The rides are better too, dude. I rode the fucking
Oh.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I rode the Pirates of the Caribbean in fucking
Orlando.
And it sucked. I mean, it wasn't like the worst ride I've ever been on, but it was just a pale imitation of the fucking Disneyland one. The Haunted Mansion sucked. The Disneyland Haunted Mansion is good. The only ride that held up was Splash Mountain because it was basically the same fucking ride.
and now they're
Yeah,
changing
those
that.
ones.
So
Not for
that's
long.
Yeah. Like I rode Splash Mountain and I was like, okay, that's literally like on the level of the Disneyland Splash Mountain. Kudos to them. The Haunted Mansion was the most disappointing one for me. Because like the line was kind of cool. It had all kinds of like holograms and shit. And I was like, cool. But the actual ride was just forgettable.
The real advantage that the one in Orlando has is that they have the animal kingdom. If you really like animals and stuff like that, like that's really cool. Like, dude, they had a really cool thing. We went there last time with me and Taylor. We're like all the fucking like parrots, like, and we didn't plan this. Like we didn't fucking go to those events because I'm just lazy and I just do whatever. They all fly in at the same time. So you get like this cool picture of all these parrots flying in at the same time. So like if you like animal shit, then I would give that the edge. But that's about it. As far as like the Magic Kingdom and the I don't know what the other one at Disneyland is called. Those are great. Like I loved everything there. They had some great rides. I like the fact that Space Mountain was the way they did that over the one in Orlando, because the one in Orlando kind of seems dated, and the one at Disneyland just was way smoother. And
Well, Space Mountain was closed for like 10 years. So I rode it in both. I rode it as a kid, and as a kid, it was scary as fuck. It was just dark throughout the whole thing, and there were little slowdowns with weird psychedelic imagery, and then mostly it was just flashing lights and a roller coaster in the dark.
that's awesome.
Now it's still pretty cool, but it's more like updated. So it's more like about the 3D faux imagery where it looks like you're traveling through space at times and stuff, and it's cool. But like the old one was like this ramshackle ride in the dark through a fucking twisting, turning, fucking crazy psychedelic maze.
How in Orlando is now. Well, I don't know. Maybe minus the lights because it's pitch black.
There was a giant practical sun at the center of the old one.
Oh, that's
that would light up towards the end, and you circled it and shit, and you could see the planets. It was fucking crazy, but it was all practically done.
Well, I would have liked to see that one and ridden on that ride because that sounds like because
Is the Matterhorn the same shit too?
they did that is one that's unique to California.
Oh, well, yeah, no. I mean, like, have you been on it recently?
No, I've never been on it, and fucking I had a fast pass for it. Like, that's the one. Like, I have to ride this ride because I'm big about that. I got to ride every ride.
Dude, the Matterhorn, Scotty.
Still on my.
You know, I don't want to fucking offend you, Scotty, but I think you were scared of the Matterhorn and what lies within it, Scotty.
Dude, that was no fucking fear there.
You didn't want to face down the Yeti, Scotty.
There's a fucking technical fucking problem.
The abominable snowman lives in that fucking mountain, Scotty. You could hear him from the line, and you were like, "I'm gonna miss this fast pass. I'm scared."
There's nothing.
He goes,
and you're
I'm
inside that mountain, dude. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Scotty. I'm telling you, he's in there, Scotty.
Sure.
I've faced him. I have faced him. I've seen him
Paul
for what he is,
Paul has faced the Yeti, dude.
and I come out to tell the tale.
Scotty's
And I'm telling
scared.
you, Scotty,
Scared to do it.
Don't go in that mountain.
You faced it, TJ?
I don't even know what the fuck you guys are talking about.
Matterhorn? You don't know what the Matterhorn is?
No.
The big mountain at the center of Disneyland?
He's never been.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to Disneyland. At least not.
Maybe
I think maybe I did when I was like a little kid, maybe. But
And she didn't go to no fucking Disneyland.
yeah, fuck Disneyland. Fuck all that bullshit. I got sniffles all of a sudden for some reason. It's horrible.
Oh, Corona TJ.
Corolla.
Damn, TJ. You got the fucking coronavirus, dude.
It's
How's it feel to have it?
horrible. I feel
Like
dead
you're
already.
now?
I think I'm already dead.
You know what that is, TJ? It's the fact that you stop smoking, so you're actually able to breathe through your nose.
Yeah, it's horrible. I don't like it.
Your lungs and shit are like.
I need to start
40%.
smoking again. Need to get back to smoking.
I smoked one of your fucking little hemp cigarettes.
Yeah.
You know, it's all right. I mean, it wasn't. I wouldn't. I know your ass. You'd probably be addicted to it in about 5 minutes if it meant you could smoke again.
Yeah. Fucking cigarettes. I still think of it. It's not, the cravings aren't as bad, but like they ain't gone away. I still like, I woke up just this morning like, man, God damn it. I could go for a fucking cigarette so bad.
Let me get a fucking cigarette real quick.
Wish I just had me a cigarette. But whatever.
I don't know, TJ. I'm kind of skeptical you actually quit. Have you actually quit, TJ? Because you've claimed to have quit before, and I found a fucking pack in your fucking bathroom.
No, I ain't smoked shit. I mean, I've smoked those, I've smoked like 3 or 4 of those little hemp things. I've smoked some weed. Or
So what do you-
some legal
so she-
tobacco, I guess I should say.
What's your secret to having quit this time? Because I mean, you quit for like 2 weeks. I mean, on your own.
There really ain't been no secret.
Well, then why was this time more successful than the others? Is what I'm saying.
Because I just had to go into with the mentality, and we're really getting off the movie subject at this point if we're going to talk about this,
whatever.
but I had to just I had to go into the mentality of like there just can't be any negotiation. Like there can't be any sort of inroad. I can't vape. I can't fucking have a patch. I can't have gum. I just have to fucking like not have this in my life. Like there can't be any sort of inroad back to it.
That makes sense.
So I mean that was like the thing is like I just like had to go into it with a tactic of like there can be no negotiation. There can be no like
The Klingon tactic.
right. There can be no like I'm gonna smoke like one of the last times I quit for any sort of length of time, I was like, I'll give myself a celebratory cigar every 2 weeks, but that just turned into smoking again, you know.
Of course
so it's
it
like,
does. Yeah.
so like anything like that, I've just been like, it just can't be that, you know. Like there could be no nicotine. I've allowed myself to smoke a few of these little fake hemp cigarettes that don't really do anything.
There's no nicotine in them.
Yeah, there's no nicotine, there's no tobacco. You know, they're all right. I smoked probably like 4 or 5 of those over the last couple of weeks, but you know, they don't really they're kind of like it's similar in like performative gestural kind of shit, but it doesn't really scratch the same itch otherwise. So yeah, that's basically it, you know. Just like I'm not allowed, you know, just don't allow any inroad to it cuz like I know that it's just one of those things that like for me, like if I open the door even slightly, it's just like it flings wide open. So
Yeah, I already tried to quit before, and you're like, I'm gonna cut it down. I'll have less and less and less. It's like, yeah, but
well, I started doing a thing where it's like I'll do 10 a day or whatever, you know. But then like you know I'd smoke like 3 and be like that was 1, you know. So it's like it doesn't.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope that you can't be on.
There's just no fucking. I can't minimize it. I can't fucking get to a point of like I'll smoke 1 every now and again or whatever because it's just gonna fucking. It'll go right
My
back
plan is to use a tactic I used before to quit vaping and just be done with it completely. Like I started a really high nicotine to quit the cigarettes, which is what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I've actually slipped up. I'll be honest. I've slipped up a couple times. Like I've had a couple smokes. It's kind of tougher for me, I think. And I'm not trying to put it on her because it's not her fault, but my girlfriend's a smoker, so they're around. You know what I mean?
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, that would make it. That's like trying to quit in hard mode if you're like with a
Right.
smoker.
And she's not like a super, like she wants to quit too eventually, but she's just not ready right now. And
Yeah.
I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, no, you got to fucking quit with me or else. So yeah, I fucked up a couple times and smoked a couple, but for the most part, for the last week, I've been just vaping. You know, I've had a couple smokes. And once I'm completely done with the smoking and pretty stable on the 24 milligram shit I've got, I just step it down. You know what I mean?
Bit by
Like
bit.
I get lower and lower nicotine, so I cut it in half, and I get used to that, and then I cut that in half, and I get used to that, and I cut that in half. And by that time, I'm at 3 milligrams of nicotine, and there's no cutting that in half. It's 0. And when you move to 0, you're getting no nicotine, and you realize you don't really miss the 3. And I just gave it up. Like there was a few months where I just didn't do it, and I was just completely free of it. I want to do that primarily for my voice and shit. Like I've been sitting here vaping the whole time. It's the same thing with smoking. Like it makes me all gravelly, and the longer I talk, the worse it gets. And I've been doing a lot of ideologies lately, so my voice is shredded because I'm just constantly pouring that fucking vape juice in it.
Yeah. I could never get with the vape stuff too much. Like, it was always way harsh for me. I have a really sensitive fucking throat, I guess, because
I mean,
that's why I don't
work up to it for sure.
That's why I don't smoke pipes or bongs or any of that shit, because like I don't know. It's like
when you've tried to vape, did you vape like direct to lung? Did you inhale as you hit the button, or did you pull a little in your mouth and then?
I tried both. The first time, so like the first few times I did just try to like go like directly to the back of my throat, which like immediately was just like, whoa. So
right.
So then I try to like let it chill in my mouth for a second, then I do it, and then it would get a little bit better results. But like still, like if there's even like the slightest tickle in the back of my throat, I'm gonna go into a fucking coughing fit. So
some people can't tolerate it. So
I just have a bitch made fucking throat. So like the second there's like a slight little like it can't even be slightly irritated, I'll just cough.
Yeah.
That's why like I can't do a dab or something unless I just like prepare myself for death, you know?
Dude, right towards the end when I ordered the vape juice and shit, I was getting real bad. Like I was just starting to kind of like indiscriminately smoke in my little room back here.
Yeah.
Like because I just didn't care anymore, and I was like, okay, fuck it, I gotta like, okay, this has gone too far now.
It's gone too far.
Because I don't want to turn into fucking Stephen King, just smoking 8 packs a day, huddled over my computer, but not actually producing anything awesome. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that to be me. So.
And then the lamp came to life. You know, it's like okay.
But yeah, I can understand. Like it doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you. I mean.
Yeah,
I've met people that like swear by it and they never want to quit it. I want to quit it. Like,
I mean, I know there's. Look, I mean, I know that not every fucking like different strokes for different folks and all that. And I've just kind of come to the conclusion that the only fucking thing for me is like I just have to totally remove it from my life and just like make peace with like it's not going to be there in any form.
Best of luck, dude. I
that's
hate
the
to fucking
toughest one.
be the doomsayer in your life.
No, I'm 100% certain that you know it's
the
not,
hardest is yet to come.
Yeah,
dude.
the battle's not going to be over. I mean, I know that there's going to be like I'm going to go to Las Vegas or something, and there's going to be cigarettes everywhere, and there's going to be like permissibility to smoke inside, or like I'm going to be with some people who are smoking, or you know.
I'm telling you, dude, it's not even just that, because I have total faith that you'll be able to fucking navigate that. Like if you really try, like you say you have no fucking willpower, but I know you well enough to know that that's actually not true. Like you've got a different kind of willpower than a lot of people do, but you have it in you.
Right.
So I think you can navigate that. The pitfall for me was something that's inevitable for everybody, and it's like tragedy and horrible things.
Right.
When that happens, and unfortunately, and I don't wish it on you, but it's gonna in your life.
Of course, every human
things.
life has that happen. So
that's when it gets hard for me. That's when I've gone back.
That's true.
So that's one thing to keep in mind, because I think you're more than strong enough to go to fucking Vegas and just enjoy the gambling and get drunk and fucking smoke weed when you can and be cool with it. Like, I don't think you're incapable of navigating that. I don't think you're incapable of being in a social situation and not taking a cigarette. I think you're going to have to watch yourself when you're drunk. That was always a pitfall for me.
Yeah, drunkenness is definitely a problem, because when you're drunk, you'll like, if I'm drunk, I'll smoke.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever.
But ultimately for me, it's always been like the holy fuck tragedies, deaths, breakups, deaths of pets, fucking just personal failures, whatever the fuck.
That's definitely an easy time to slide back into shit. So yeah, I don't know.
But I got faith in you, dude. I'm backing you up. I hope you stay off them. I think you've been like more vibrant lately in the shit that you've been making. No, I'm dead serious.
No, I definitely feel it. I don't feel like I have like now some infinite well of energy, but I definitely can see a difference in just
as
myself.
a fellow longtime smoker, I see it in you too. Like it's noticeable. And you know, I've recently done kind of some similar shit. I got on some medication I should have been on a long time ago, and I think my performance has personally benefited from it.
Oh,
my
yeah.
output. And so it's good that we're like working on ourselves. Scotty has no problems, so
Yeah, Scotty's already perfect, of course.
I wish I had a fucking vice that I could quit to make me better.
yeah. But whatever. If he ever gets one, Scotty will take care of it cleanly and efficiently and exactly by the book, and it'll be gone.
Well, dude, you know, I had a point in my life where alcohol was my vice, and then I realized that alcohol is a bad vice to have, and I switched smartly to legal tobacco. And
Scotty doesn't like. There's one thing about Scotty that a lot of people don't know. He's kind of monastic, in a way.
Oh yeah,
like Scott, and people wouldn't probably like label Scotty that way. And he's not like totally like.
No, I mean like whatever. But he's like minimalist too.
But yeah, he's totally like fine just not doing something. Like he likes, like you see him, he's having some legal tobacco now. But if something happened, if he went to his doctor and his doctor was like, look, if you keep doing this, it's going to be destructive to your health or this or that, he would drop it and just never think about it again. Like it wouldn't be like, he wouldn't be like one of those dudes that was like, oh man, I pine away for weed forever. It might be like a little hard for him sometimes, but like, yeah, he'd be done with it. Like he makes his mind up. Like I've seen Scotty, like, okay, and I'm not trying to shit on him, but I've seen Scotty's weight go up, right?
Yeah.
And like not to the point of like actual fatness. I'm a fat fuck, you're a fat fuck, but I've seen Scotty start to turn into a fucking baboon from fatness.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
And then it's just like there's some switch that he flips and he's like, I'm gonna go to the gym or whatever he does. I'm gonna cut back the calories. I'm gonna do the calorie deficit shit, and he's just in shape again.
Yeah.
You know, and then like Scotty, like, and I don't want to reveal too much about Scotty's personal life, but let's just say the situation that he makes work, I would never like, and it's not even a bad situation, but like the shit that he navigates just in his personal life, I'm in awe of. I'm just like, okay, I could, because I can barely handle like a dog, a cat, and a girlfriend. And Scotty's got a wife and a bunch of other obligations on top of that.
Yeah.
And he just makes it fucking work.
You know, another thing is like, you know, like it'd be like a sugary drink or something. Like me and Scott used to fucking go to like the Mexican restaurant we go to and like,
oh my God,
drink like a fucking like fucking gallons and gallons of fucking sweet tea and shit. And then he just stopped drinking sweet tea. He's like, I don't drink that anymore. It's like, you know, like I don't, you know, it's like really hard for me to give up something that I like.
Like,
you know?
Scotty knows.
But he's
how
just
to
like, whatever, I'm
indulge
done.
himself.
I'm done with it.
Because Scotty will, if there's anything in Scotty's life that I feel like he doesn't have 100% control over all the time, it's his drinking. I'm not saying he's an alcoholic. I'm just saying that Scotty, that's the only time that I've seen Scotty lose his cool. Really, like, he gets mad and shit, but drunk Scotty loses his cool. So it's probably the one vice in Scotty's life where when he gets to a certain point, he does and says shit and whatever that he regrets and shit. I do the same. I get to a certain fucking drunken point. I do the same shit.
When I get fucking, I mean, in vino veritas to some degree, I think. But,
oh yeah, well sure.
You know, but I think also, yeah, you're right. It does amplify. It can amplify negative attributes you have as a person. It can, and sometimes positive ones. But yeah, I think drinking overall, just like it's a cruel mistress. Because either way,
yeah.
I don't think ultimately
Drunk
you win.
Scotty is like the most fucking like intense goddamn human being you could possibly fucking imagine.
If you
being
get
around,
drunk
dude.
with Scotty, like real drunk, and here's something I've learned about Scotty: if he has a problem with you, Scotty's not the type of dude to bring it to you. Like eventually he will in some form, but he's the type of dude to let things. He's kind of mellow in that way. He's like, let it work out. If Scotty got a problem with you, it's gonna come out in the drinking time, and you're gonna know. Like another thing too, and this is great. This is actually a good thing about drinking with Scotty, because smoking with Scotty's different. We can go over the whole fucking gamut of chilling with Scotty, at least from an outsider perspective. 'Cause you got the brother perspective. But,
I don't know any of this. This is all your perceptions. Yeah.
But from a friend, being Scotty's friend perspective and coworker, if he got a problem with you, you definitely gonna find out when there's drink involved.
That's when it
And
happens. That's when it comes
You're
out.
gonna know how Scotty actually feels about you too. Like you're gonna like really deep down. Like if Scotty is because Scotty, if he's done with you, he's done. It's just like the drug shit. He's monastic in that way. Like people, he has a threshold. Like and correct me if I'm fucking wrong, Scotty. If I'm mislabeling you, then fucking correct me. He has a threshold, and when people step over it, he's very discerning about whether or not he allows them back in, and usually he doesn't.
Nah, man. Like I'll tell you that night I was like truly done with that dude we're working with, Matt. Like he said something. I'm not gonna reveal like what we're
I vaguely remember it because I was spinning and puking in a bucket when it happened, and your wife was holding my hair back for me.
yeah. Like, he just started acting squirrely. And then I just grabbed him and I was all like, because I don't know what it was about him, but it was like, it wasn't even really what he was saying. It's just how the way he talked to me and the way he looked at me. And I looked at him and I had that moment with him where I was all like, I don't fucking like you at all.
Yeah. See,
And
here's what it was.
I threw his ass out of the fucking, not even my house, out of TJ's house. But I was like so insistent. I'm like, no, because I basically told TJ, I'm like, there'll be violence here unless you remove this dude because I don't fucking trust him.
I remember snatches of this. And TJ, I don't know if you remember, but like a day or two later, I called you in private.
Yeah.
Because I had these like weird memories of this happening. And I was like, okay, what happened? And what you described, and TJ's usually a pretty good historian of this, even if he's wasted, which he was that night. He recounted to me, and the act itself, like the actual reason you were mad made no sense.
Yeah.
It was a misinterpretation. It was a mishearing of something that was said. But here's the thing. What I said before still stands. You didn't like the way he was doing his job. You were unsatisfied with that. And it came out in some form because you were blasted. You don't remember this. Right before I started puking, you and I had like a 30-minute fucking conversation.
Oh yeah, I think
You broke down. You broke down our whole fucking relationship in about 30 minutes. You just told me how it was. Like there was no conceit to it. It was like, look, Paul, you make me a lot of fucking money. It was the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
But it was honest and it was real and there was a respect to it. Then you went and bruised TJ and then you kicked Matt the fuck out of our lives because that was basically the catalyst. You know what I mean? It wasn't the end result. It wasn't the final straw, but it was the catalyst, you know?
Dude, I didn't realize how much like, did I grab you or did I punch you?
You grabbed me. No, you were being
him.
Look, you were being very, very nice, but it was the most threatening niceness I've ever faced in my life. I don't know how to describe it. I've never had a conversation like that where someone was praising me effusively, but at the same time, I felt like I was about to be like, I felt like I might be about to die. You know what I mean? Because like, TJ, you a fucking amazing motherfucker, TJ. I always wanted to be like you, TJ. Like, okay, that's cool, bro. We good. No, TJ, listen. Fucking love you. Like, you know? And eventually, he's like, you so fat. He grabbed my fucking fat roll and just jiggled it. But it was so hard that the next day I had like bruising on my fucking roll and shit. Because he just like,
There's like
video, you know?
Because the next day was our meetup.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I showed people. I'm like, yeah, this is where Scotty grabbed my fucking fat roll.
it was either the next day.
It wasn't the next day, but it was like
a
day. It was a few days later, but you know.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it was something like that. Like a few.
It was dude. That whole fucking contest was the reason I could not fucking drink at that meetup.
Right, and then but
I don't blame you, dude.
you guys as drunk as you guys got at the contest was how drunk I got at the meetup.
That was fucking insane.
And people, I mean, I'm still hearing stories from people who were like, yeah, I was at a meetup. I remember you did this. I'm like, what the fuck? I did.
Yeah. I remember like I was so fucked up that it had to be explained to me like 4 times that like TJ had to be wheeled out of here. And Taylor's like, Scotty, you literally went into the room where TJ was passed out, made fun of him for like 10 minutes and left. Like
It was fucking chaotic in there. My memories, like TJ, I went to check on him and I was like, TJ, and I put my hand up. He was sitting there next to Chelsea. and he was whispering or whimpering something to Chelsea at this point. Yeah. And I put my hand on your shoulder and I was like, TJ, man, you okay? You're gonna be all right. And I'm patting you on the shoulder, and you looked, and I could see the cognition come over your face, and you just started wailing, and you were like, "Why are you doing this to me, Paul?" Dude, I walked away, and you just kept screaming that over and over. Why are you doing this to me, Paul? Why are you doing this to me?
The similarities to me and TJ being drunk is when we get to that point, we both act exactly the same way. We become, like, whiny, driveling messes of like men, just like TJ. I'm not gonna go the whole story, but like she tells a story about like me and you, Jiro. Like,
oh yeah,
I love you, Jiro. Like fucking Salvador. The fucking cheating ass dog. If he comes in here, is dead.
Scotty was telling. Scotty was drunk. He was telling you, Jiro. He's like, only me can you trust, Jiro. Only me can you trust.
This shit, dude.
All the others fucking betray you, but not me. Me and you, Jiro. You're the only one. I'm the only. It's just like, oh my god,
I love it, dude.
I got really upset because I watched Braveheart because my ex-girlfriend was like, watch this movie or something, just please calm the fuck down, because I'm obviously a fucking mess when I'm that drunk. I'm pretty much anyone is.
We totally lost the movie theme we had for this, by the way.
What movie?
Full circle, dude. It's come back full circle here.
We're talking about Braveheart now. We're back to movies.
Yeah, because I was gonna watch fucking Braveheart.
Right.
And I got super absorbed in the movie. Like, fucking British. Fuck the goddamn British! What the fuck are they doing? Oh, they wanted. Oh, that guy's getting married. Oh, it's wonderful. He's getting married. He's married. What are they doing? No. What's going on? They're just taking his wife. I have the right to pre-nut him not day. I have the right to, as nobility of this land, to have sex with this woman on the first night of her marriage. You son of a bitch! No, she's going willingly. It's so sad. That's like every pivotal point in the movie. I was like so mad. I was like fucking fuming. I was like, fucking British just need to be fucking destroyed, man. We need to fucking nuke these motherfuckers. Like, we show them this movie and be like, look what you done.
Yeah, that movie will make you hate the British for sure. As if you need a reason, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
right, of course.
I mean, you know.
Jesus.
No,
Oh, dude,
Braveheart's a good movie, though.
Dude, I
Yeah,
had a
that's
fucking
true.
scare last night, dude.
What'd you watch? What?
I had a fucking scare, TJ.
Yeah,
So I-
scare.
You know, dude, I did have a fucking scare. You know what? Fuck that. You want to talk about Brave? We can talk about that.
No, tell me your scare, Scotty.
So Taylor's like, I want her family's really big into their family ancestry and shit. She's like, oh, look, I have a family tree. And we're looking. And we get to someone that's like born in like the 1800s, like 1870 or some shit. And it was like, where was she born? And initially I got a scare, dude. I was like, Ontario, Canada. I'm like, what the fuck, Taylor? I was doing this. I was taking this ring off. I'm like, Taylor, I would never divorce you for any other fucking reason. But you know what? If it's come out, you're a secret Canadian, manipulated and sent by the Canadian government to destroy me and my fucking plans of overthrowing the Canadian government, you know, a coup d'etat. If that's to happen, I can't have a fucking agent on their side monitoring me. It turned out she was not a relation of hers, though. We did find out there is someone in her family named Archibald, though. From Exley, England. Archibald?
I'm
And
Archibald.
we were talking about it. I was like, you know, it's like Archibald. Like, oh, he probably like he had a modest job or like he was a tailor or something. I was like, no. I was like, dude, you cannot survive fucking 18th century England with a name like Archibald unless you're loaded. At least somewhat. Like maybe
Yeah.
some minor, you know, like little fucking duchy or something or county, you know, some
I'll
shit.
tell you
like,
what.
Who the fuck's named Archibald?
Nobody.
Continuing on the
That's
fucking
rich. It's rich.
continuing on this deep dive into the fucking psyche of Scotty, I will tell you this: the hatred of Canadians thing. Like, I don't know what the deal is with that, because Scotty actually likes a lot of shit from Canada. But I will tell you this, and he wasn't even drunk. There was a night when Scotty was like talking about like, we need to fucking take over Canada, dude. We need to fucking blow that shit up. We just need to fucking annex that shit. I'm like, ha 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 ha, that's a fucking good one, Scotty. No, ain't no fucking good one. I'm fucking serious, bitch. We need to fucking do this. And he started laying out the plans and like, here's why we need to do it. He had like this like 10-point plan and shit. I'm just like, They just like laid it out. Like, this is all the reason we need to seriously fucking do this now. And I think we should do it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we need to take Mexico.
It was never
too, in my
fucking, it was
opinion.
never discussed again
Oh,
or
of course.
anything. But he had this whole fucking plan of like
look,
Canada.
I'm looking at the future, man. What country has the most fresh water of any country in the world?
See, but you're saying it like now with like kind of this like, you know, let me just say it. But like at the time he was like,
No, look, dude.
you know,
When the Roman Empire was expanding,
uh-huh.
that's when it was at its fucking height, man.
Yeah.
The American Empire is like much like capitalism is like, it almost feels like, we're not really expanding much anymore.
We're receding, man.
We're now we're on the inside. We're fighting ourselves. We're doing the fucking part where you fall. So we need to kickstart the spirit of like, hey, we got shit going on still. We're fucking moving ahead by conquering Canada. And look, I doubt even a single American life will be lost. We just roll over with tanks. They'll be like, sorry, don't come over here. You're like, no, we're coming in. The Canadians are a bunch of pussies. They're gonna they're gonna give up. They're gonna roll over.
You're right.
It's America too. Like they might say they wouldn't, like, oh, we're not gonna do it, but they're gonna give up.
Yeah, they're gonna give up for sure.
They have
And
their-
so will Mexico. Like what we need to do is send in the army to battle the cartels in Mexico, and then once the cartels are defeated, we just don't leave. But see, here's the problem. Here's what I fear.
and you do that by legalizing all drugs as well.
Of course. Being the globalist that I am, I know that if that happens in my lifetime, it's going to start bothering me that there's now a North and South America and a Central America. Like, why stop there? Let's unify this part of the globe, dude. Take Central America, take South America. Brazil's a fucking mess. All the fucking South American countries are pretty much a mess. Take them all, get them all under one banner. And then why stop there, dude? At that point,
Just take it all over. Take the world.
Like Africa is where it's really happening. That's where all the natural resources are, and fucking the Chinese are trying to eat up that pie. Fuck that. Let's go solve the problems of Africa by making it Af-America. You know what I mean?
Af-America.
And then why stop there? Got this hornet's nest of problems in the Middle East. What better way to fucking assimilate the Middle East and just make it Middle America? You know what I mean?
All right. I see where this is going. Let's wrap it up, guys.
It's global.
So Paul wants to take over the world, and that's fine. And but we've fallen
not?
far astray of movies, which is ostensibly the topic here. But it's fine. We got hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know. We'll be back next month with more movie talk with fat fucks or whatever the fuck the title of this shit is. Bye.
Bye-bye.